Those of you who've grown weary of shoveling snow must be elated to see this. A beautiful day in Lakeland, Florida. The Blue Jays, with soaring expectations, are back in business preparing for the upcoming season. They play their first game of spring today against the Detroit Tigers. And we welcome you for that first broadcast. I'm Jamie Campbell with Jack Morse and Greg Zahn. Let's send it to the men you'll be hearing from all summer long. Buck Martinez is standing by with Pat Tabler.
Jamie, the Blue Jays won 73 games last year, and they finished fourth in the division for the fifth straight year. And everybody knew that they had to have a productive offseason, but nobody anticipated the offseason that Alex Anthopoulos had.
Let's go back to the end of last season. I don't think anybody was quite sure where the organization was heading, but it was obvious something had to be done to this ball club. And then Alex Anthopoulos became the busiest man in Canada on the phone, engineering trades, bringing in 13 major league players. Well, I think the ship is heading in the right direction, so the excitement is higher. The expectations are higher, so let's get the games on the way.
Everybody's anxious to start spring training. We'll do that in just a moment against the Detroit Tigers, the reigning champs. Let's go back to Jamie Campbell.
Buck, thank you. Brandon Morrow is now part of a revamped rotation. He'll get the first start of spring, and he was outstanding when he wasn't hurt a year ago. What do you like about Brandon?
Well, what makes him so dominating when he's healthy is his ability to command his pitches. And it all starts with his body control. He's got a very compact, short delivery. He doesn't fly open. All things happen bad when a guy doesn't have body control. Brandon Morrow has very good body control.
We'll see some of the new players today. Meiser Asturis, Emilio Bonifacio, Josh Tolley will be catching Morrow. Greg, among all the new recruits, who's the one you're most excited to see?
Well, it's the one guy you won't see today, and that's Jose Reyes. And the reason I say I'm excited to see him is because Jose Reyes is your prototypical leadoff hitter. This guy brings an enormous amount of speed to the front of that lineup. He can do pretty much anything there is to do on a baseball field. He can hit for average, he can hit for power, he hits from both sides of the plate, and he'll go out there and play a sparkling shortstop for you. It's a presence in the lineup at the top that the Jays haven't had in a very, very long time.
And that's why this is such an exciting day for so many in Canada. The Blue Jays are back and preparing for the upcoming season. We'll have the first pitch from Lakeland coming up momentarily.
To Lakeland, Florida, Blue Jays will open up their Grapefruit League action here against the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers, of course, the reigning American League champs. John Gibbons back in a familiar position as the manager of the Blue Jays, and he is very anxious to get this spring season underway. Going to get a good look at the two new faces, top of the order in Emilio Bonifacio. Meiser Asturis, the switch hitter, will start at second base. Then you have Lori Linden, Aaron Sevia, some holdovers. Newcomer Josh Tolley will open up behind the plate today. Moises here, Anthony Gose, and Ricardo Nanita will be in left field. And we are set for action. Anibal Sanchez for the Tigers is set. And here's the first pitch to Bonifacio.
Well done.
Emilio Bonifacio is a switch hitter. A guy that had a lot of injuries last year. He played in just 64 games for the Marlins. He, of course, part of that big 12-player deal with Miami.
But a dangerous type of hitter. When the season starts, he'll probably be hitting at the bottom of the lineup for the Toronto Blue Jays, and this will be Jose Reyes' spot. But just imagine having Bonifacio and Reyes back-to-back.
They're very similar in their approach, and they can both hit leadoff. Of course, Reyes, like Bonifacio, a switch hitter with a lot of speed. Emilio stole 30 bases in just 33 attempts last season. Popped up. Alex Avila behind home plate. One out.
Take a look at this afternoon's pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. It's Anibal Sanchez. Don't let those numbers fool you right there. The 9-13 record. He had an excellent earned run average, 386. Came over from the Miami Marlins right at the trade deadline, and really solidified, I thought, the Detroit Tigers in their march towards the World Series. Pitched great in the postseason.
Tigers re-signed Sanchez after the offseason as a free agent, and he really hit the jackpot. Command guy, throws a lot of strikes and really knows how to pitch. Meiser Estura slaps it on the ground. Johnny Peralta, it's short. 2 quick-outs. Take a look at the Tigers defensively. Peralta at shortstop has dropped some weight. He's moving around very well in the outfield. Pretty good outfield anchored by Austin Jackson. And how about a 9-time Gold Glover in right, Torrey Hunter, who signed as a free agent. Peralta, Infante up the middle, Cabrera Fielder at the corners, and Alex Avila behind the plate.
If there was one free agent who matched with the Detroit Tigers, it's that man right there. I thought that was the perfect signing by the Tigers to get a leader and a good player like Torrey Hunter.
Now, he was anxious to sign. In fact, he reached out for the Tigers and told them he wanted to come to Detroit. Brett Lordy batting third this afternoon. Off-speed pitch foul. A lot of the regulars will not be here today. Jose Bautista, Jose Reyes, Colby Rasmus. They will play tomorrow when the Blue Jays open up their home half of the Grapefruit League schedule. Bouncing ball. Omar Infante at second. Good inning for Sanchez. When we come back, we'll get our first look at Brandon Morrow. Anxious to get off to the great start he enjoyed a year ago. Jim Leyland, one of 3 Tiger managers to win 600 games in a Detroit uniform, is back at the helm. Take a look at the lineup, and it is anchored by the Triple Crown winner, Miguel Cabrera, batting third. Jackson, Hunter, then Cabrera, and look at the middle of this order. Prince Fielder, Victor Martinez back after missing the entire season a year ago. Andy Dirks, Johnny Peralta, Alex Avila looking to bounce back after a down offensive year, and Omar Infante at second.
A lot of threes at the beginning of those batting averages for the Detroit Tigers. This is Brandon Morrow, who I think was having arguably his best season, cut short last year by injuries and oblique strain. He missed 2 full months, but was still able to get double digits in wins at 10-7. First time under 3 for his earned run average at 296. Morrow will throw 1 inning this afternoon, looking to build on what he was doing last year.
Well, he had a great spring last year and carried it right into the regular season, so he has taken that same approach this year. Expect to see a lot of breaking balls and changeups early on in the spring from Morrow. Austin Jackson takes first pitch upstairs.
You know, that was the one thing that Brandon did last year. I think he became a pitcher as opposed to a thrower. Started working on his changeup and breaking ball, especially early in the count.
Another pitch upstairs. It's 2-0. Brandon Morrow made 13 starts before he injured his oblique in June. He was off to a 7-4 start with an ERA just over 3. Arguably, he was the best pitcher in baseball at that time. He'd already thrown 3 shutouts. He shut out the Angels out in Anaheim on the 3rd of May. And shut out the Mets at Rogers Center on the 19th, and then capped everything off with a shutout against the White Sox in Chicago first week of June. Deep drive to center. Anthony goes back at the track, makes a running catch. Oh, Anthony Ghost got some time in last year, and it certainly served him well. He made an impression.
One of the hardest baseballs to track down as an outfitter is that fly ball line drive right over your head. Anthony Ghost tracks it and knows exactly where he is on the field to haul it in. That is something that you can't teach right there. That is natural speed from Anthony Ghost.
Anthony got in 56 games a year ago with the Blue Jays. Well, here's the newcomer, Torrey Hunter, the free agent who signed, and take a look at the jump.
Yeah, watch Ghost at the top of your screen when he comes in. He knows exactly that ball's over his head, so he turns and runs as fast as he can, and you try and run through the baseball.
Hunter's shot from by in down the right field line. Royce's Sierra will get it back to the infield, and Hunter has a 1-out double. Boy, this is a good pickup. Another veteran bat to put in the order ahead of the meeting.
He hit second for the Angels last year and enjoyed a huge second half for Los Angeles, and that's where Jim Leland's going to have him this year. Hitting right behind Jackson and in front of Cabrera in fielder. He's going to get a lot of pitches to hit, and he's been around the game. He knows how to handle every one of them.
Torrey Hunter hit .313 for the Angels a year ago. And boy, you talk about a number 2 hitter to set the table for this guy, Miguel Cabrera. Triple Crown winner a year ago. Tell you what, the Blue Jays really handled Cabrera well last year. He had 196 against the Jays with a home run and 2 RBIs. That's pretty impressive.
I think you have to pick who do you want to pitch to. Do you want to pitch to Cabrera, or would you rather pitch to fielder? And here's a situation right here. You got first base open. I know it's the first game of spring training, and Brandon Morrow is working on some stuff, but you don't have to give him anything to hit if you don't want to.
Now, they really pitched well to both these sluggers, fielder as well as Cabrera. The other hit just .211 against the Jays last year. Upstairs again. And you're right, today Morrow's just out there trying to knock off some cobwebs and get back into the flow of things. He's very anxious to log another 30-start season as he did 2 years ago.
Well, we talked about a little bit a couple of batters ago about what Brandon Morrow did last year.
Lloyd looks Hunter back at second across the diamond. 2 down. Now let's take a look at the Blue Jays defense, and of course it's going to be a lot different. Today it's Mendieta and Sierra, the youngsters in the outfield. Bonifacio and Historis up the middle, Orion Lind at the corners, and Josh Tolley behind the plate. He came from the Mets in the R.A. Dickey deal, but these two guys, Bonifacio and Historis, are going to have a dramatic impact on the improvement of the defense up the middle.
And where did that improvement come from? The Blue Jays got better athletes to play in the middle of the diamond. There's going to be better play from the second baseman and the shortstop because they're better athletes. They can get to more balls. They can do more things defensively. Not taking anything away from Escobar and Kelly Johnson, but they just weren't the athletes that the Blue Jays are going to throw out there this year.
Dramatic upgrade when you throw in Jose Reyes, who's going to play every day at shortstop. There's that breaking ball that missed downstairs. 2-0 to Prince Fielder.
We'll finish that thought on Brandon Morrow. Last year, really started working his curveball a little bit more early in the spring and his changeup. He still has the power, and he's always got that if he needs to go to it. But I think he became more of a pitcher by using the off-speed pitch last year.
I think one thing Morrow learned about himself the last couple of years is you don't have to throw everything at 100%. And when we talk about those 3 shutouts he threw early in the season, I mean, it was a dramatic example of pitching.
And you remember what he said after that game in Los Angeles? He said, I could have closed my eyes out on the mound and hit the outside corner to the right-handed batter all night long without even looking. That's the type of command he had.
Fielder takes one inside. It's 3-1. A little bit more protection in this lineup for Cabrera and Fielder. Standing on deck back by the backstop is Victor Martinez, a switch hitter who missed the entire 2012 season because of a knee injury. There's an off-speed pitch in there for a strike.
There it is right there. Change up in a 3-1 count. He'll just split his fingers on the baseball. You can see it right there as he gets ready, and it's just to take a little something off his fastball. Not necessarily looking for movement, just a little change of speed.
You can forget about this one. Fielder got a fastball and hammered it. His first home run of the spring is a deep drive to right.
Wasn't going to fool Prince Fielder there. 3-2. It looks like he goes back to the fastball after the off-speed pitch. And Prince Fielder, with his first swing of the spring, unloads one to right field. That is power plus right there.
A short swing, and he got to that pitch very easily, and that's what hitters want to do, get off to a good start in the spring. So Tigers are up 2-0. Victor Martinez, the switch hitting DH, will step in the box with 2 outs. Martinez injured himself prior to last spring in off-season workouts and had a knee problem. He had surgery, and they went to microfracture surgery, but you can see the numbers he put up 2 years ago. Pretty impressive back to return to the lineup.
It's the 100 RBIs. I think that's the big number that the Tigers are looking at. If Prince Fielder doesn't drive him in, you've got a guy, a switch hitter with a very good career batting average, who is very good in RBI situations. So if Fielder doesn't do it, Martinez is right there to do it for him.
How do you think the 3, Cabrera, Fielder, and Martinez, stack up as clutch hitters?
Well, can you name a better threesome in the American League? Not just power in production. I think the key word that you were saying there, the clutch hitters. Victor Martinez is as clutch as anybody, and you know Miguel Cabrera is right there, driving in that big run late in the game with 2 out.
Ball was up, and Martinez rifles it into left. So the Tigers racked up 3 hits off Morrow in his first inning of work. John Gibbons knows that they didn't want Morrow to extend too long, and Pete Walker, the pitching coach, is making his way to the mound. That pitch was upstairs.
Well, one of the things that you're seeing from Morrow, he's just trying to be smooth. He's not over exerting himself on his pitches. He's trying to get into his release, just get into his windup. Unfortunately, the last 2 balls that were hit hard were up.
Chad Beck is loosening up down in the bullpen. He was not scheduled to pitch, but he's a backup guy, and Morrow has thrown 20 pitches this inning. So Beck is trying to get loose in a hurry in case he's needed to close out this first inning.
I think you still have to do what you set out to do if you're Brandon Morrow. I don't think you need to reach back right here and try and overthrow it. It's the first game of spring training. It's a long spring this year. Just stay within yourself, execute your pitches, get the ball down, and you'll be fine.
Andy Dirks, the left fielder, takes one upstairs. You can see Morrow is A little bit up with all of his pitches right now, but once again, it's the first outing of the spring.
And there is a difference from throwing in a bullpen, throwing on the side, throwing live BP, and throwing in game situation.
Yeah, this is the first time you've faced a batter with a different uniform on. Blue Jays pitchers got a chance to throw BP to their hitters, but I don't care if it is spring training, it's still February, but your heart starts to beat a little different pattern. Boy, Andy Dirks has done a nice job for Detroit. Kind of battled some Achilles problems last year, but Dirks at .322 for the Tigers with 8 homers and 35 hits.
He's a favorite of Jim Leland because he'll battle you up at the plate. He's got a nice short swing. Doesn't strike out a whole lot. He'll make contact.
There's a strikeout. Morrow gets out of the inning. The Tigers put up a 2 spot on Prince Fielders. First long ball of the season. A year ago, he pounded out 30. Number 1 in the books, albeit in spring training. Kansas not that far away. The season opening week presented by Honda. The Blue Jays will take on the Cleveland Indians to open the season April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Then John Farrell and the Boston Red Sox come to town Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. Honda opening night is sold out. For tickets for the rest of the week, call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com, where you can always stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Brandon Morrow talking to Pete Walker, who's in his first season as the pitching coach. Manuel Sanchez delivers a strike to Adam Lind. Lind finished up with a .255 average and really finished up on a high note. And right here, he rips one past the glove of Sanchez into center. Base hit for Adam Lind.
They had to send Adam Lind down to the minor leagues last season. He really worked well with Chad Mottola, who was down there as the hitting coach. And when he came back to the big leagues, this is the kind of production he gave the Blue Jays, a little bit shorter swing. And he started using the whole field a little bit more, I thought. And he is a key guy in the middle of the Blue Jays batting order this season.
He played in just 93 games, the first time since 2008. He didn't reach 100 games, so it was a disappointing season for him. J.P. Arencibia has the DH this afternoon. Looks at one downstairs. Arencibia missed time a year ago with a fractured right hand. Took a foul tip off the bat of Brandon Inge.
That was too bad also because he was in one of those home run modes that he gets into.
Well, he's anxious to boost that batting average. You can see he had .233 last season. He's got power. We know about that. 18 home runs. But I think in order to contribute consistently in this lineup, the way it figures to stack up, he's going to have to raise that average and get on base a little more consistently.
And the way to do that, I think, for JP, I think you have to make a little bit more consistent contact. With 2 strikes, I think he can change his approach a little bit better, shorten his swing a little bit more. The strikeouts are just a little bit too high for JP Arcibia.
Well, he got off to a good start. He had 8 home runs in the month of May. There's a fastball that catches the outside corner. Arcibia is down on strikes.
Sanchez has a good feel for pitching, and he felt like Arcibia might be sitting on a breaking ball, and he backdoors him with a fastball right on the outside part of the plate. That's the pitch, I think, that turned the corner for Sanchez when he came over to Detroit last year. That fastball with movement.
Well, Josh Tolley, he came over to the Blue Jays along with R.A. Dickey and Mike Nickius. Tolley, the catcher, was the Mets opening day catcher the last 2 seasons at .234 with New York a year ago. Tries to check, and he did on that high fastball. Tolley has caught R.A. Dickey more than anybody. He's caught him over 60 games and has really done a good job catching.
Very soft hands and works well. I got to meet him this morning. You introduced me to him. Likes to talk, very outright person, likes to talk. He's got a very good personality. Those are the type of players that the Blue Jays are looking for, winners. Go out there, good clubhouse guys, good leaders.
Line drive to left. Dirk's almost in his tracks, hauls it in. Tolley's retired. 2 down. Andy Dirks hopes that he can play every day at left field, and got a little bit of competition. He's trying to prove to Jim Leland that he can become an everyday outfielder.
I think his bat certainly can play in the major leagues. You got to figure Jackson's in center, Hunter's in right, so the only position is left field. Brendan Bosch is still on this team, Detroit Tigers, and I always thought that Brendan Bosch was going to be a pretty good player.
Moises Sierra, he, like Anthony Gose, got a taste of the big leagues last year for the first time. He played in 49 games with the Jays. The ball in the dirt, smothered by Alex Avila. So Sierra, with the addition of Melky Cabrera, Emilio Bonifacio, has been pushed back down the depth chart a bit, along with Anthony Gose. But they are both very interesting young players.
Tools. When you look at Sierra and Gose, you see tools, but you don't see the polish that you need.
The base hit to center for Sierra. Then we'll stop at second. Brandon Morrow threw 24 pitches in his inning of work, and Brad Lincoln appears to be ready. He is scheduled to come in, and you can see he just told his catcher to cool it a bit. I'm ready. And now we'll come into the ball game to pitch the bottom of the second. So Anthony Gose, the center fielder, made a nice running catch for the first out of the bottom of the first when he took extra bases away from Austin Jackson in straightaway center. 2 down, 2 on. Tigers up 2-0. Gose hit .223 in his rookie season with the Blue Jays. He had 7 doubles and 3 triples to go along with the homer and 11 RBIs.
And he showed improvement from the time he got to the big leagues with the Blue Jays until the end of the season. Another one of those young hitters that worked with Chad Mottola down in the minor leagues, and you could see when he first came up, everything was more of a hack. It really wasn't a swing. Now he has spread out just a little bit more. He has flattened his bat just a little bit more, and it looks like he can make a little bit more solid contact.
There's a line drive into center. That'll get down in front of Jackson. Lind around third. Jackson goes to third with the throw, and Sierra is tagged out. The run does not count. Boy, there's a base running mistake right there that John Gibbons is going to make a note about. Sierra getting thrown out. Cost the Jays a run. Brad Lincoln when we come back. Moises Sierra gets thrown out at third. Adam Lynn, trying to score from second, did not cross home plate until after the out. And take a look at Austin Jackson's throw. It's right on the money.
Yeah, he comes up throwing and throws a strike, and Adam Lynn, look at the umpire right there to judge. This is the play right here. He comes around third base hard, and watch, right before he gets the plate, lets up just a little bit. And it's about a half a step. The umpire says no run right there. On the other side, Moises Sierra, the play's right in front of you. You don't run into an out.
2 outs. John Gibbons is making all kinds of mental notes right now. You can't make those types of mistakes. It just costs you a run. Brad Lincoln. Those are his numbers from a year ago with Pittsburgh and the Blue Jays. He appeared in a total of 52 games. Had a pretty good ERA at 3.68. Worked exclusively out of the pen for the Blue Jays. And the plan this season is to stretch Lincoln out, getting back into that starter mode, and it looks as though he'll probably serve as a starter in AAA at Buffalo.
One of the off-season jobs that Alex Anthopoulos wanted to do, he wanted to build a little bit more depth, especially at the AAA level. Everybody knows the Blue Jays are now moving into Buffalo, so they were able to get some other pitchers. Now, you don't acquire all of them. Some of them you already have on your team, and the Blue Jays had this one on their team as a reliever. They feel like he can be a very good starter. He's got power stuff. Power fastball, power curveball. I think as a reliever, you take a couple of pitches away from you. Now you go back into the starting rotation. Your slider and changeup are going to have to play a little bit more.
And a base hit up the middle for Johnny Peralta, the Tiger shortstop. Peralta, you can see he's trimmed down dramatically, and he is trying to get back to that offensive player he was a year ago. We are pleased now to be joined by Brandon Morrow, who got your first appearance in. And Brandon, assess how you felt out there today to get that first game under your belt.
Well, I felt good physically. I mean, I was a little in between intensities. I think that was my rhythm was a little out. You know, there's definitely a part of you that wants to get out there and go get it, you know, and there's the part of me trying to scale it back and just get in the swing of things, and you know, just that little inconsistency where I felt off balance, the fastball was up, and you know, I was getting behind the guys, and that was the main thing.
That was by design, Brandon, that it looked from here that you were really scaling it back, and you just take your time trying to get your timing over the rubber.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I was trying to stay under control and everything, but you know, you step on the mound, the first game of spring, there's a part of you that, like I said, wants to go out and get it, and that was kind of the inconsistency there. By the end, the last hitter, you know, one, I needed to get out of the inning, but then two, you know, I was starting to get better in rhythm, and the ball started coming out better, and I was able to put them away and get out of there.
Brandon, there's been so many moves in the offseason, but from a starting pitching perspective, tell us what the rotation feels like now, adding 3 veteran pitchers to the 5-man rotation.
Yeah, it's a whole different feel. I mean, much more veteran from last year. I mean, these guys come in with great reputations on the field and off the field. You know, be able to watch them work, see what they do. I mean, it's going to be exciting. We've got a lot of balance in the rotation, a lot of different looks.
Omar Infante takes one downstairs. It's 2-0.
When you saw Alex Anthopoulos making all the trades and the player moves and the players that he was bringing in here, Brandon, did it get you fired up as you were sitting at home? And did you change your routine at all to get ready for spring training?
Well, I definitely got fired up, but no, I didn't change anything from last year. You know, I was trying to keep it consistent, do everything I did to prepare for coming into spring last year. But yeah, we're fired up. I mean, Ricky called me and announced a trade to me. I was on my way home from my morning workout, and you know, first it was Josh Johnson, and then 5 minutes later, you know, it's Jose Reyes, Bonifacio, Josh Johnson, Mark Burley, and it was just you know, really exciting. You could see on Twitter, on the radio, just everybody blow up and all the excitement start from there, and then you know, signing Melky Cabrera and trading for RA, it just kept going and going, and you know, Alex has done a great job to put us in a great position to win some ball games.
Brandon, with the additions, expectations are awfully high. Do the players embrace those expectations?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think rightfully so, the expectations are high. You know, we got a club that's, you know, designed to win right now, I think, and you know, everybody is excited to start the season. I think we have a great clubhouse to be able to bring those guys in and really mesh and adapt and become a great team by season start.
Brandon, thanks for your time. Congratulations on getting your spring training off to a decent start, and we appreciate you joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Brandon. That's Brandon Morrow, who made his first start of the spring, and his thoughts on the changes and what he needs to accomplish before the start of this season. I just think it's going to be a great year for Brandon Morrow.
I do too. When you watch him, and we've watched him the last 3 seasons, Buck, and we've watched him develop as a pitcher. Remember when he first came here, everything was the same speed, everything was hard, his stuff was outstanding. Last year, I think the light finally went on for him, and I think he understood how he can get big league hitters out consistently. And look at his last start of the season against Minnesota Twins, 11 punch-outs and another win. His second half, when he came back from his oblique injury, was better than the first half. Maybe not in wins and losses because the offense wasn't there, but his ERA was under 3. In the second half, it was under 3 for the first time in his career.
The breaking pitch that's fouled off by Austin Jackson, and you're right. I just think Brandon Morrow knows what he needs to do to get ready for the season. He knows he has all of the weapons to be successful as a starting pitcher in the major leagues, and now it's just a matter of preparing, making sure that he is ready to start the season. And you'll remember a year ago, his first start in Cleveland against the Indians, took a no-hitter into the 7th.
We did a game in spring training. I think it was the last spring training start, and we're like, this guy's ready for a big year.
Off-speed pitch pulled foul by Austin Jackson.
One of the stats I like to look at for pitchers is hits per innings pitched. And since Brandon has come to the Blue Jays, he has always given up fewer hits than innings pitched. And that's a tremendous stat when you're looking at starting pitchers, that they can get you deep into the ball game. He's got plenty of command and control. So you are bound to have a good earned run average, and you should win ball games if you do that.
1-2, 1 out. Just missed down the stairs. Tigers are up 2-0. We are in the bottom of the 2nd inning in beautiful Lakeland, Florida. Game 1 of what promises to be a very interesting spring. A lot of Blue Jay fans around here at Joker Marchant Stadium. High fly ball to right. Sierra has a beat on it on the track. Tagging up at 2nd is Alex Avila. He'll move over to 3rd. Jackson's retired. And now there are 2 down.
Austin Jackson looks like he's ready for the season to start. It doesn't look like the first game of the spring with him at the plate.
Brad Lincoln is 27 years old. He's got an 8-9 career record. He's appeared in 75 big league ball games, just 10 starts. So he is still a guy that's trying to establish himself in the big leagues. He'll work out of the stretch to Torrey Hunter. Hunter doubled down the right field line his first time up. Torrey Hunter was a free agent this offseason. He told me before this game that he sat there and watched the Tigers in the postseason. Picked up the phone call, called his agent Larry Reynolds and said, contact Dave Dombrowski. I want to play for Detroit. And in fact, he and his wife got on a plane and flew to Detroit before he got an invite. He said, I want to play with the Tigers. They got a good team. They got a great manager. They got a chance to win. He's not won a World Series.
Yeah.
He's been on some pretty good teams, and that's the one thing that's missing in his resume. And he's figured that Jim Leyland's Tigers is a pretty good fit.
He also wanted to be close to South Bend, Indiana, didn't he?
Yeah, his son's going to play football for the Fighting Irish and baseball as well. Hunter in the hole, 0-2. Torrey Hunter spent 8 years with the Twins. His last 5 seasons were with the Angels in Anaheim. Well, you're talking about a veteran approach. With 2 strikes, he's short, protecting the plate. He knows that he's got some thunder behind him in Miguel Cabrera. He's just trying to keep the inning alive.
Hey, anytime you see a right-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher foul fastballs over first base, you know he is sitting on a breaking ball. He'll react to the fastball, but he'll look for that breaking ball.
There's the fastball, broke his bat, and he'll be retired. Lincoln gets out of the inning. Gives up a couple of hits, but no runs. Spring training underway. Great atmosphere down here in Florida. And a lot warmer than it is up north. Lakeland, Florida, it's time for an ice cream. It is a beautiful day here on Saturday, the opening home game. The Tigers played the Braves over in Orlando yesterday. Come on, take it. It's free. Well, okay, if you insist. Just one, though. New pitcher for the Tigers, Canadian Sean Hill, who will represent Canada in the WBC coming up in March. Most of the players will leave their big league camps on March 3rd and join their respective ball clubs, and Hill will go out to Arizona along with Adam Lowen and Brett Laurie from the Blue Jays. There you can see Hill's numbers from a year ago in Las Vegas with Toronto.
Veteran pitcher. He's also pitched for the Montreal Expos and trying to make this club as a long reliever. Sean Hill is known to be a strike thrower. He's around the plate, fastball, slider, changeup. Just some pitching depth that Dave Dombrowski has picked up this offseason.
Not in two, just like Torrey Hunter. I don't care if you have a free agent situation like Torrey Hunter or you're a minor league free agent like Sean Hill. The Tigers are pretty attractive. Chances of them going back to the postseason are pretty good. First time in franchise history the Tigers won back-to-back division titles a year ago. It's only the second time in their history that they had consecutive postseason appearances, and you've got to go all the way back to 1934 and 1935. The other time they went to the postseason.
Did you cover the World Series that year?
No, I missed it then. I wasn't quite polished.
I think the Tigers have everything it takes to get right back to that ALCS. They might be a little short in the bullpen. They're taking a chance on a young kid who we're going to see this afternoon named Bruce Rondon to take over as the closer.
Ricardo Nanita, the left fielder, batting ninth in this Blue Jays lineup, fights it off and stays alive. It's a 2-2 count. Last year, King Benoit got off to a terrible finish, and he actually lost his role in the bullpen. Octavio Dotel pitched very well for the Tigers once again.
Jose Valverde is no longer here. He ended the season. In fact, he was not the closer for the Tigers in the World Series. It was Phil Koch doing the job for the Tigers. Valverde is no longer here. He too will pitch in the WBC to try and find a job. So there's a possible weakness there.
Well, we talk about the WBC. You can see all the games right here on Rogers Sports. And Adam Lowen will join the Team Canada this time as a position player. The World Baseball Classic, March 1st through the 19th, all the games, and it's a great opportunity for these players to represent their country. We mentioned Brett Laurie. Adam Lowe will go from the Blue Jays to play for Canada. Jose Reyes, Edwin Encarnacion will play for the Dominican Republic. Team Canada will open up on March 8th out in Arizona. That's their first ball game. They will play Italy on Friday, March 8th. It'll be Brett Laurie's opportunity. He was on the team in 2009 when the Team Canada took on Team USA at Rogers Center, but he didn't get an at-bat. Appeared in one game, so he's anxious to go this time. You know he's going to play third base every day.
What was he, 19 years old?
Yeah.
At that time? It's understandable. I know he wanted to play a little bit more 4 years ago. Now he's going to get a chance. He's an established big leaguer now.
Emilio Bonifacio takes a pitch on the corner. It's a ball on the strike. Bonifacio popped up to the catcher in foul ground his first time up. Another interesting name on the Team Canada roster, Cale Orge. The son of Garth Orge will play shortstop next to Brett Laurie. There's a base hit to left field. Boy, is that a pretty swing or what? I'm talking about a different approach top of the order, with Bonifacio and Reyes possibly leading off from time to time, but the ability to stay on this pitch and drive at the left is pretty impressive.
Well, I like after the leadoff walk, Bonifacio was going to go ahead and take a strike to take a look at Sean Hill. Did that and then just served the ball out into left field. Didn't try to do too much with that off-speed pitch. Stay with it. Hit it hard the other way. You're going to hit 300 when you have that type of approach.
Meiser Asturias a year ago hit 256 for the Angels. 2-0. Asturias and Bonifacio have both played a lot all over the diamond. Asturias not in the outfield like Bonifacio, but he's played third, short, and second. How important do you think their switch hitting abilities are for an asset for this ball club?
It has been a long time since the Toronto Blue Jays has had as many as 4 switch hitters in their lineup. And the Blue Jays can say that this year. It's one of the things that Alex Anthopoulos also wanted to do when he remade this team. He wanted to get a little bit more balance. And he went out and got 4 guys who can switch hit. They only have 1 last year. That was Omar Vizquel.
They have not had as many as 4 switch hitters since 1993. They had 5 on that World Series team in '93, and it just gives you so many more options.
But you can't pitch around certain guys out of that bullpen. You can't bring in a lefty to face a righty and vice versa. Just turn the guy around. On top of being switch hitters, they can play multiple positions, and I can't wait to watch Bonifacio.
Who does that sound like? Maybe a little bit like Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Teams that have interchangeable parts.
That can play multiple positions, and they're switch hitters. Whenever we're facing the Tampa Bay Rays, it's almost like they have a 35-man roster.
Asturias takes one low for a ball. That'll load the bases. You talk about Emilio Bonifacio. Take a look at his career games by position, and Pat, this is a lot of versatility.
It's almost like having 3 players in one. You've got an outfielder. He can play all 3 outfield positions. When you have an extra guy like that, they can play the corners, but sometimes they can't play center field. He can play center field. He can play all over the diamond. He can run. He's a switch hitter. He makes contact. I think he was the underrated player in that trade with the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, he is certainly somebody that's very interesting. Jose Bautista told me right away, first time I saw him, Bonifacio's faster than Rajai Davis.
Wait a minute.
That's what he said. We'll have to wait and see. Brett Laurie has the count in his favor. Now here's where Brett Laurie has got a chance to really grow this year. In these situations in the past, all he's thinking about is hitting, not necessarily thinking about getting a good pitch to hit. It'll be interesting to see how he changes that approach this year.
Well, he'd come out of his shoes and swing no matter what the pitch was. A breaking ball, fastball, change, didn't matter. Now he should have a better understanding what they're trying to do to him.
He's got to come to you. Pitcher's the one that's in a jam here.
Let him swing away. 3-0. Show the confidence in a young hitter that you can find a strike and hit it hard.
Off-speed pitch for a strike. I agree with you 100%. Hill's probably going to throw a strike, but if you give him the green light, you find out a little bit more about Brett Lawrie. Will he be selective enough to get a good pitch? Nobody out. Tigers lead 2-0. Blue Jays threatening on the top of the third. Went too far, tried to hold off. That pitch was down and away. Andy Fletcher, the veteran umpire. There's 3 umpires here today. Take another look at it, and he did go around.
Looked like Sean Hill took a little something off that pitch and got Brett Lawrie out in front.
These two will be teammates during the WBC, and you can bet that Sean Hill's thinking, you know what, I need to get this guy out so I don't have to listen to him once we get to Arizona.
What were you thinking?
But Alex Avila, the catcher, went out to discuss this next pitch. Full count, nobody out. Boy, Sean Hill, he's not throwing anything straight, is he? He's really trying to work the corners.
He's got a good changeup. I was watching him in warm-ups, and he really gets those fingers over that baseball. And he throws it with the same arm speed as his fastball. There is the grip, the changeup grip that Sean Hill has. I don't know if he's going to challenge him here either.
Base hit left field. 1 runs in to score. Behind him is Bonifacio, and Lawrie delivers. A good approach. Fouled off a tough pitch inside, and he's tied it up with a 2-run single to left.
You know, that was a great approach. All you had to do was watch the hands of Brett Lawrie on that pitch. Didn't overstride, didn't try and send the ball for extra bases. Watch how he just uses his hands. Hardly a stride at all with that front foot. And plenty strong enough to rifle the ball down the left field line for 2 RBIs. Pretty good approach right there by Brett Lawrie.
Well, you saw a lot of pitches during the at-bat. He had a pretty good read on what Hill was featuring, and he cashes in with a couple of RBIs. 2-2 ball game. Jeff Jones, the pitching coach, out to talk to Sean Hill, give him a little bit of a breather. Historis went first to third on the base hit by Lawrie. Still nobody out. Sean Hill in the ballgame. This is his first inning of work. Adam Lynn takes one right on the outside corner. Lynn had a single to center his first time up.
Against a type of pitcher like Sean Hill, I wouldn't even think about trying to pull the ball. He's going to try and get you to reach for something and get the ball on the ground.
This ball is driven into center field. Austin Jackson back deep. Tagging at third is Historis. Throw will come into second, and Lynn cashes in with the sac fly. The Blue Jays have a 3-2 lead.
You know, another very good approach by a Blue Jay batter there. Adam Lynn just trying to loft the ball to center field or to left center field. Don't overcommit. That's exactly what Sean Hill's trying to get you to do. Overcommit, try to hit the ball too hard. That's when you top it and you end up hitting it on the ground. Just stay right in the middle of the diamond with that.
Prince Fielder asked for time and come in and had something to say for Sean Hill. Just one out. J.P. Arancibia, who's the DH this afternoon. Arancibia caught looking at strike 3 his first time up back in the second.
Normally, I think in the regular season, you would see Brett Lawrie trying to steal here. Good situation. You got some pressure on the pitcher. but it's early. I don't think you're going to see too many guys trying to steal bases in spring training.
I asked Bonifacio about that. He said, no, I'm not quite ready to steal yet. You know, that move at first, that first step puts a lot of pressure on your legs, and there's just not too many guys that are ready to run an awful lot right yet. Aaron Sevilla rips it down the left field line, just foul. Well, there's been a lot of talk going into the past season about Blue Jays and their base running mistakes. Last year they made a lot of mistakes on the bases, choosing bad times to run, trying to force the issue. Brett Laurie had some bad opportunities when he chose to steal, and John Gibbons has said, I'm just going to watch, see what they do, and then I'll decide how I'm going to approach them about base running. And Sevilla lost the grip on that bat and goes all the way into the seats.
Well, I think that's the right approach for a manager who's taking over the ball club. He admits it. I need to know these players. I've got to watch them and form my own opinion against them. And I like what he says also about Brett Laurie, that, hey, I don't know Brett Laurie. I want to watch him play. I certainly don't want to pull the reins in on Brett Laurie. I think you'd much rather try to rein in a guy than try to get a guy's motor going.
Absolutely. You look for years to find a player with the intensity of Brett Laurie, and you don't want to take that away from him. Aaron Sevilla reaches for one and fouls it back. JP will go to the WBC. He, as we mentioned, will leave along with his teammates to join their ball clubs on March 3rd. Team USA will train in Arizona, and they will play in that first round in the Arizona pool at Chase Field and Talking Stick. There's a looper to left field, and the Dirks backs up, makes the catch just in front of the warning track. 2 down. Good turnout today. This is the first game for the Tigers here in Lakeland. They played yesterday against the Braves in Orlando, and they've done a nice job of upgrading this ballpark. Tigers have been here since 1946.
Hey, this is a great ballpark. Out in left field, they built that, I don't know, that
The
grass
berm, yeah.
area out there where people can bring out their towels and bed sheets and sit out there and watch a ball game. How fun is that? They love the Tigers here in Lakeland.
Yep, they've had a long relationship with this community. And they got a little tiki bar out there where you can get a nice cold beverage and enjoy the afternoon. Beautiful day here in Central Florida. Josh Tolley, one of the new players to join the Blue Jays. Tolley was rewarded in his first year with a 2-year contract. And he'll take ball 4. Brandon Morrow started. Brad Lincoln worked an inning. It appears as though Steve Delabar will be the next Blue Jays pitcher to work here this afternoon. Boy, what a find he was. Steve Delabar for Eric Thames in July. And Delabar really solidified his position in this bullpen with a strong second half. Moises Sierra takes a breaking pitch strike.
Slow in spring training. That's what you want to do with the pitching staff. Bring them along slow. With the WBC, it's a little bit longer this year. So the Blue Jays' first 5 pitchers will all throw 1 inning this afternoon.
Now the breaking ball. Cabrera will go to second to end the inning. Sierra's retired, but the Blue Jays score 3 runs to take the lead. They're up 3-2 here in Lakeland. Fans, the Blue Jays season is just around the corner, and you can get suited up for the 2013 season at jshop.ca. jshop.ca has the largest online selection of Blue Jays gear. 2013 is the year of the Jays. Visit jshop.ca or call 1-877-JAYS-SHOP. A lot of Blue Jay fans down here, and of course that's going to be a very popular jersey. Jose Reyes, number 7. And he will start his spring training season tomorrow in Dunedin when the Blue Jays open up their home portion of the schedule.
Not that Jose Reyes, the real Jose Reyes will be started.
Yes, you'll be able to tell the difference because he is some kind of athlete.
Steve Delabar takes over for the Blue Jays here in the 3rd inning. Delabar's numbers with Seattle and Toronto, 61 games, 4-3, a 382 earned run average. And one of the things that he brought to the bullpen for the Blue Jays last season when he came over from Seattle was power. 92 strikeouts for Steve Delabar in just those 66 innings pitched.
In 27 games with the Blue Jays, he had 14.1 strikeouts per 9 innings. To give you an idea of how that compares to the rest of the American League, Max Scherzer of the Tigers led the American League with 11.08. Yu Darvish was second, 10.4. They led baseball with a strikeout per 9 innings. And Miguel Cabrera has just hit one 9 miles. Steve Delabar is greeted very rudely by Miguel Cabrera. And that has tied it up at 3-3. What a shot, top of the curve and deep left center.
You think you can get in on Miguel Cabrera, but he was so quick on the inner half. He brings his hands inside the baseball as good as anyone in the major leagues. At that time, Delabar tries to get in there, and Cabrera's waiting for him. No doubt about it. Just like Prince Fielder in the 1st inning, Cabrera here in the 3rd ties it up with a long home run.
Cabrera is going to represent Venezuela in the WBC, and you can see he is ready. Boy, that was a beautiful swing on a pretty tough pitch. He got to it very easily. And, of course, a year ago, 44 home runs, 139 ribbies.
He's a lot like Albert Pujols. Great power hitters, but their approach of the plate is picture perfect. They stay inside the baseball, and that allows them to hit for a high average.
Now, the great Hall of Famer Al Kaline is here in camp with the Tigers, and I saw Kaline during the playoffs last year, and he called Cabrera the best hitter he's ever seen. And he's seen a lot of good hitters. And he was a good hitter. But Cabrera has a game plan. He knows what he wants to hit. And he is patient, selective, not afraid to hit the ball the opposite field. Triple Crown winner. First time there's been a Triple Crown winner since 1967. Popped up into left field. Ricardo Nanita there makes the catch. Fielders retired. But Cabrera winning that Triple Crown hit 330 with 44 homers and 139 RBIs.
You know, the thing that separates, I think, the Tigers offense from a lot of offenses in the American League is usually you've got the great power hitters in the middle of the lineup, and you can find holes and you can pitch to them. And if you make your pitch, you can get them out. These guys are good hitters. Victor Martinez, I said that at the beginning of the broadcast when you were going through their lineup. A lot of threes at the beginning of their batting averages. They're good hitters, but they've got great power and great production.
There's another good hitter that's also a switch hitter, Victor Martinez, back after missing the entire season. And just another big bat for opposing pitchers to have to deal with.
You might see a guy with 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, but he hits 270. These guys hit 30 home runs and drive in 100, and they hit 330.
Victor Martinez, almost 10 years of big league service. Pops this one up. Isturis out into center. Ghost coming hard, and it goes off his glove. Isturis and Ghost really never got together. Pasteur is carried out as he has moved to shortstop. He and Bonifacio have flip-flopped in their position. You can see Pasteur shaking his head. He was dealing with the sun as he was tracking this ball into shallow center.
This is a center fielder's ball all the way. It's a much easier play for Anthony Ghost, the center fielder coming in. His back is not towards the infield. He's got to be yelling and calling him off, and he makes that shorter high catch easily. But it didn't look like he told him he was coming.
Well, what you have too is new players getting accustomed to one another, and the first game of the season, Anthony Ghost has to take charge out there in center field and call Asturias off and make sure he hears him. Andy Dirks, the left fielder, a strikeout victim his first time up. The center fielder, Anthony Ghost, charged with an error that allows Victor Martinez to reach. 0-2 on Dirks. Tried to check his swing. That was that splitter, and the appeal down to Jerry Lane, who has moved to second base. Just 3 umpires here this afternoon. Jerry Lane at second. Andy Fletcher has now moved to first base, and the home plate umpire is Jeff Gosney. I asked Steve Delabar what he wanted to accomplish this spring, and he said without hesitation, my fastball command, I want to sharpen that up. He has talked with some of the veterans, especially Darren Oliver, and asked Oliver what he thought was most important. He said locating that fastball down and away.
You know, you locate that fastball, and it sets up that devastating split from the fastball that he has. And Delabar, forget about the lefty-righty splits. It doesn't matter. He can get lefties out. He can get righties out. But you're right. Fastball away to right-handers. That's what he's talking about, the fastball command. This time he just blows it right by Andy Dirks up and in.
Delabar, now 29 years old. He'll turn 30 in July. And that Johnny Peralta's attention with a high hitter. Peralta singled to center his first time up.
Peralta leaning out over the plate. That one gets away from Delabar, up and away. Last year, he had that down and away fastball to the right-handers. Down. He had it right where he wanted to, and that's where he got a lot of his strikeouts.
There it is. Right, that down and away pitch. Talk about it from a hitter's perspective. Why is that such a tough pitch for a hitter?
Well, you're reaching for the ball. It's the pitch that's farthest away from you. You can lose track of it if you don't stay on it. You use a lot of power when you have to go out and reach for a ball down and away. There are organizations around baseball that's where their 0-2 pitch is going to be every single time. You can go around the league and you can see 0-2. They want to hit that ball down and away, make you reach for it.
Missed with that fastball. Ishmael Rogers will be the next Blue Jays pitcher to work here this afternoon. He was acquired in trade from the Cleveland Indians. Blue Jays saw him once last year. They faced him, and he retired 6 of the 7 batters he faced. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Steve Delabar in his first inning of work, his only inning here this afternoon. His first outing of the spring, of course. There goes the runner. Ball is driven to center field. Anthony Ghost coasting over to his right, makes the catch. The inning is over. We've played 3 innings here in Lakeland. Tigers, Blue Jays tied at 3. Rogers on the mound when we come back. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. 3-3 game here in Lakeland, Florida. We're moving into the top half of the fourth inning, and we're pleased to be joined now by the skipper, John Gibbons. And John, how does it feel to be back in the Blue Jays dugout?
Buck, it's, hey, to be honest with you, kind of like old times. You know, it's that first inning seemed a little odd, but I tell you, sure feels good.
Well, can you tell us what you have seen so far through 3 innings of baseball this afternoon?
You know, I've seen some good baseball, and then I've seen a couple sloppy plays. You know, the one that I really didn't like is running into the out at third base. I think it was in the second inning, Costas a run. And those are the kind of things we got to be smarter about. We can't do those. I mean, that's you don't win baseball games when you do that. So we'll concentrate on that. You know, then a little ball that fell in there in the last inning, but we're putting on some good at bats. We're using the whole field. We're taking our hits the other way if it's there. And for the most part, the pitching's been kind of a little bit in and out. You know, we've been on, a few hitters, and then we've been scattering a little bit. So, but that's to be expected this time of year.
How will you handle those mistakes? Will you do it individually with the player, or will you bring the whole team together and say, hey, look, this is what happened, and we can't do this if we want to be a championship type of team?
Yeah, I always talk to the individual, but then, when we get them, we're at home, let's say, and we're out there before more in the stretch, we might bring it up as a group just to reflect on it. Because, I mean, you can't do those things. They happen every now and then, but, good teams don't do those things.
John, when you look at the team you're playing today, the reigning American League champs, is that exactly what you're looking for? Is your team to get to that point? When you look at the ball club you're facing with all the veterans, you've added veteran presence to your team this year. Are you now trying to measure up with the premier ball clubs in the American League?
Yeah, that's what we have to do. I mean, we look great on paper, but these are the teams you got to beat. They're defending American League champs right here. And, I mean, you look at their lineup is as good as anybody's, and of course they got Victor Martinez back this year, and they added Torrey Hunter. So there's not a whole lot of outs in there, and that's why when you play teams like this, you can't afford to give away things. When they give you an out, you take it, and you can't get careless on the bases because every at bat, every pitch, every whatever is precious because they got so much damage in that lineup.
John, it's great to have you back in the Blue Jays dugout. Thanks for your time, and we'll look forward to an exciting season.
Hey, thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks,
That's John Gibbons, the manager of the Blue Jays. In the top of the fourth inning, Anthony Gose in a hole. He is battling Michael Morrison, new pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Morrison, 25 years old. He is a non-roster invitee to the Tigers camp and catches the outside front of that slow hook.
He was the Erie Pitcher of the Year for the Tigers. Spent all of 2012 in Double-A Erie, 4-3 with 314 earned run average. Lefties, righties, it doesn't matter. Look at the strikeouts, 72 of them. A lot of times with that good overhand curveball. It's very sharp, and it's a very good one. He spins a very good curveball.
Kind of one of the college players out of Cal State Fullerton that has such a great baseball program, oftentimes going to the College World Series. Ricky Romero is a product of Cal State Fullerton. Ricardo Nanita got the Blue Jays rally started in the third inning. Took a leadoff walk and came around to score one of the 3 Blue Jay runs. This time he lines it into center field, right at the center fielder. Austin Jackson makes the catch, 2 quick outs. Spring baseball, lots of good treats for the kids and a great atmosphere. Think he knows what inning it is?
No. I'm having trouble remembering the innings. He doesn't.
Back to the top of the order. Emilio Bonifacio takes the first pitch start. Bonifacio had 3 different stints on the DL a year ago with the Miami Marlins. This is popped up behind second. Peralta gets there. Quick inning from Michael Morrison. Blue Jays go down in order. Middle of the fourth here at Lakeland, 3-3. It's a new season and a totally different lineup for the bobbleheads this season. Edwin Encarnacion's bobblehead will be given away on Sunday, April 21st, when the New York Yankees are in town. J.P. Arancibia's bobblehead will be featured on Sunday, July 7th against the Minnesota Twins and Brett Laurie. On Sunday, August 11th, his bobblehead will be given away while the Oakland Athletics are in town. The first 20,000 fans each game will receive a bobblehead doll. For information and tickets, call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. How about a new Rogers in the lineup for the Blue Jays? Esmail Rogers. His numbers with Colorado and Cleveland a year ago.
The Blue Jays got him from the Cleveland Indians for Mike Aviles and Yan Gomes, and this might be a steal right here. We saw him a couple of times last year after he came to the Indians, and he's another one of those relievers with a live arm. He's got a fastball with late life. It can reach 96 miles an hour, and a curveball that he'll use for his strikeout pitch.
Delivers a first pitch start to Alex Avila, the catcher. Avila singled to right his first time up. Yeah, Rogers is a very intriguing arm to add to this bullpen. And the Blue Jays were in search of power arms.
And it started last year for the Toronto Blue Jays. And I think by June of last season, Alex Anthopoulos made up his mind to say, you know what, we need a little bit more power coming out of our bullpen. And right at the trade deadline, they had a surplus of outfielders and Thames and Snyder. They turned them into Lincoln and Delabar, and it continued through the offseason.
Well, another good fastball on the outside corner. It's 1-2 to Alex Avila. Rogers was purchased by the Indians from the Rockies last June 12th, and then he was traded to the Jays in November. As Pat mentioned, for Mike Aviles and Yan Gomes. An off-speed pitch. His career record is 11-12 with a 5.95 ERA. Covers a span of 114 games, which includes 22 career starts. So he's done a little bit of everything. And here, he falls behind. It's a full count to the leadoff man here in the bottom of the fourth, Alex Avila.
Well, consistency throwing strikes has always been his problem. And once he irons that out, becomes a little bit more consistent. Use the changeup just a little bit more to complement that 96-mile-an-hour fastball. He's going to be a weapon.
Comes right back and pours that fastball right past Avila for his first strikeout. Well, that's why you like power in the bullpen, because you can have a pitcher come into the game and pick up the strikeout. We mentioned Delabar and his great strikeout numbers a year ago. Now you add Rogers and his big arm to the bullpen. It certainly should serve Pete Walker and Pat Henkin, the pitching coach and bullpen coach, very well.
When you can throw 95, 96, 97 miles an hour, you can get away with a mistake. You throw a ball right down the middle about belt high with a little heat on it like that, a guy might foul it back, or he might swing right through it. If it's 88 to 91 miles an hour, it's going to get hit. It's going to get hit hard. Also, when you're a reliever and you throw that hard coming in from the bullpen, chances are there's going to be runners on base. And you need guys to pick up strikeouts. Teams all over baseball are now drafting, signing, developing 6'4", 6'5" guys who throw 98 miles an hour.
1-1 to Omar Infante inside. How important is that power aspect of the bullpen play in this American League East with the stacked lineups you face on a regular basis?
The stacked lineups, Buck, but also the ballparks that you play in. How about Yankee Stadium? You need guys who can strike guys out. Fenway Park is a great hitter's ballpark. Camden Yards is a great hitter's ballpark. So you need guys, especially late in ball games, who can pick up big strikeouts when you're on the road.
Yeah, you can make a good pitch Camden Yards and somebody can make contact and hit a pop-up out of the ballpark. There you see number 54, and if you recognize the face, it's David Bush, who originally signed with the Blue Jays, back with the Blue Jays. That's over the outstretched glove of Ricardo Nanita. Omar Infante will round second, but he'll stop there. A one-out double for Infante came on the 3-1 pitch.
He's a pro. Infante came over with Anibal Sanchez from the Marlins and really solidified the infield for the Detroit Tigers. Doesn't try and do too much here. Just use your hands. Rogers is supplying the power. You just make sure that you get that bat head out in front, and you'll end up with an extra base hit.
Infante and Bonifacio, teammates with the Marlins, exchanging pleasantries around the bag at second. Boy, the Marlins had a stacked team a year ago at this time.
How about that? In 1 year, how it went south for the Marlins.
Well, Anibal Sanchez and Omar Infante came to the Tigers from the Marlins, and then, of course, this past offseason, the Blue Jays picked up the key players from the Marlins: Johnson, Burley, Reyes, Bonifacio, and John Buck, who was eventually traded to the Mets in the R.A. Dickey deal.
How about that? 1 year ago at this time, everybody was picking the Marlins to win the division. Ozzie Guillen was the man down in Miami. They had a new ballpark.
Down the stairs. Yeah, I guess it's just a reminder that you can't get too excited about things in the offseason or spring training. We have had an awful lot of recent examples of that. The Philadelphia Phillies, Boston Red Sox a couple of years ago, even last year, the Angels.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Anaheim.
Yeah.
They were a lock.
Boston a couple of years ago. This is the best offense that I've ever seen. We hear people around the league talk about them. How'd that work out?
Ground ball to short. Restoris across the diamond. Jackson's retired on the play. Infante moves to third. But now they're 2 down.
You know why I say that? Because here we sit with the Toronto Blue Jays in 2013, and the expectations are so much higher, and that's what we were talking about in the opening. The expectations are higher, the excitement's higher. It's tough to play with a bullseye on your back, and I think there is a definite bullseye on the back of the Blue Jays this year.
Yeah, when you bring in that many good players, and you mentioned it in the opening, about 13 major league players coming in, Blue Jays could turn over more than half of their roster on opening day.
So I think it's important in spring training that they set a team out there. Just go out there and play, make yourself better. You're playing for the team. You're going to try and win ball games, and just get yourself ready for opening day. Get the pitching staff lined up, get the hitters in shape, avoid some injuries.
Inside, Ishmael Rogers in his first inning of work on in relief. He is the fourth Blue Jays pitcher to work. They've all worked an inning. We're scheduled to see David Bush after Rogers, and he is penciled in for 2 innings, as is Ramon Ortiz, who will follow David Bush. Corey Hunter fights it off and fouls it over the Blue Jays dugout. Well, Josh Tully, the catcher, will go out and chat things over with Ishmael Rogers as the catcher's trying to get familiar with the new pitchers. They're all trying to get acclimated to one another and find out just exactly what they can do, what they can't do.
Blue Jays have 3 new catchers in camp. How important is it for them to go out there and catch these guys?
Yeah, it's huge. And the more innings you get, the better you're going to feel about it. Corey Hunter slipped coming out of the batter's box, and he'll be thrown out easily by Bonifacio. Rogers gets out of the inning. We've played 4 in Lakeland. It's 3-3.
Back in Lakeland, Florida, the Blue Jays and Tigers are tied at 3 after 4 innings of play, as the fireballer Bruce Rondon is going to come on and pitch for the Detroit Tigers. He's got a heavy load on his shoulders, taking over the closer's position, or so they expect, for Jose Valverde. He'll be a treat to watch. I'm glad you joined us today on Sportsnet with Greg Zahn. And people shouldn't be panicking about the outing for Brandon Morrow. Yes, he gave up a couple of runs, including a home run to Prince Fielder that landed somewhere south of Orlando. But what did you think of that first inning?
Well, you know, he looked free and easy to me. I liked the delivery. He looked very comfortable out there. Not sure why so many breaking balls in a 1-inning outing, especially first one of the spring. Usually you go out there and try to establish the fastball a little bit more. Got himself into a little bit of trouble with Prince Fielder throwing a couple of back-to-back breaking balls in a situation that came back with 3-2 fastball and gave up the 2-run homer. But overall, you know, I'm not worried about it. The delivery looked crisp and free and easy.
In the second inning, the Blue Jays could have had a run, but Moises Sierra was thrown out at third base. Was that on him, or was it on Adam Lind slowing down?
No, I mean, Adam Lind has to slow down just a little bit to be able to touch home plate safely. That situation right there, you cannot make the third out at third base. It's more of a lot of the stuff that we saw towards the end of last year. And, you know, it's the first day of spring training, but it's coming from the same people, so we've got to keep an eye on that situation as spring progresses.
You like Brett Lawrie's at bat against Sean Hill with nobody out and the bases loaded?
Oh, definitely. That was a pro at bat right out of the gate. He was very patient. He should know Sean Hill. They're going to be teammates in the WBC, and they're both from Canada. I'm sure he's faced him a number of times, but a pro at bat by Brett. He was very patient at the plate, finally got a pitch to do something with, and tied the ball game with a 2-run single.
Well, we're back underway in Lakeland. Let's send it back then to Buck and Pat. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Jamie. And as Jamie mentioned, a new pitcher for the Tigers is a very interesting one. He's facing Maestro Stewart. The pitcher is Bruce Rondon, the young power pitcher that they anticipate will be the closer.
He is the guy everybody is talking about here in Lakeland.
Oh, Alex Avila. Looked like he had a swing and a miss on that pitch, trying to catch it.
Looked like it might have gotten the home plate umpire Gosney. He throws triple digits. Yeah, and Avila whiffed on it.
Yeah, he threw it right past Avila.
As high as 103, some of the reports I hear about Rondon.
1-2, nobody out. Sturris leading off the 5th. High fastball was popped up. Little looper down the third baseline. Cabrera hauls it in, 1 down. Rondon comes out of Venezuela, and Jim Leyland says, I am not going to give you a daily update on Bruce Rondon. His role is possibly our closer. Big numbers all the way across the board. Made 3 stops last year in the minor leagues. And look at the right-handed hitters. They hit just 94 against Rondon.
66 strikeouts, 29 saves, all in 53 innings in the minor leagues. You know, another thing that Jim Leyland says about him, it's very different facing a guy in the minor leagues or in spring training or in the batting cage and stepping on the field with a runner at second base at Fenway Park and 2 outs trying to protect a 1-run lead.
And you got to deal with David Ortiz in the box at Fenway Park. A little bit different than it is down here in Lakeland in February. But he's got the weapons, certainly. He has physical stature. It's like Seattle Bullpen. And we talked about the Blue Jays wanting power arms. Well, this is what they're looking for from Rondon.
Alex Avila has talked about him this spring, saying he's got command. He can throw his fastball to both sides of the plate, in and out. He also has a slider and a changeup that is ever improving. And at the big league level, it doesn't matter how hard you throw it. You still have to throw it in a good spot. And that's one thing Avila says about Rondon is he can carve up the outside part of the plate with his fastball. To a right-hander, he might go inside with it. He doesn't just take it and just whale it as hard as he can down the middle.
Ball ran all the way across the plate. Avila was set up down and away, and that ball just shot all the way off the plate inside the Lord. Rondon's just 22 years old. He signed as a 16-year-old. Comes out of Valencia, Venezuela, the hometown of Henderson Alvarez. And you can bet those 2 arms matched up against one another from time to time. There's a high fastball cut on and missed.
2 years ago, he was just in the Gulf Coast League. That is almost the bottom rung in the minor leagues. There's one more below that. He was in the Venezuelan Summer League between 2008 and 2009. 2010, he was in the Gulf Coast League, so he has made major strides in the last 2 seasons.
Brett Laurie takes a walk. Another good at bat for Brett Laurie. Drove in 2 his last time up with a solid single to left. There he draws the 1-out walk. It's a 3-3 ball game. Rondon, the 4th Tigers pitcher to work this afternoon. Anibal Sanchez started, went 2 innings. Gave up 3 hits and no runs. Lind had a single off of Sanchez. Picked up the sacrifice fly in the 3rd inning against Sean Hill. How important is Lind to this ball club this year?
I think he needs to have a big year. If you look at the Toronto Blue Jays, where does their power come from? Encarnacion, Bautista, Laurie, all right-handed batters. They need some kind of presence from the left side in the middle of that lineup like an Adam Lind. And he's certainly capable of doing it. He has battled injuries the last couple of seasons. Playing for a contract also.
Yeah, it's interesting too, and of course he had a tough season last year. You mentioned earlier that he was sent to the minor leagues. Anybody in baseball could have picked him up. He was outrighted to the minor leagues, taken off the major league roster. So he went down, worked for just about a month with Chad Mottola in AAA Las Vegas. He was very complimentary of Mottola's approach as a hitting coach. Lind was quoted in recent newspaper articles about getting several mixed messages. He got one message from Dwayne Murphy and then get a different message from his former manager, Don Farrell. From a hitter, how do you have to take responsibility and come up with your own approach at the plate?
Well, you can hear what everybody is saying, but ultimately the bottom line is you're standing in that batter's box and it's you who has to produce for your ball club. And hitters are always going to listen to who's ever going to tell them something, and you can become very confused when you're standing in that batter's box. But I think ultimately it's on you that you have to decide what type of player you are, what type of hitter you are, what works for you, and then build on that.
Fouled off. It's 2-2. Well, when you think about Lind and his career, of course, he had a career season in 2009, but that's quickly fading into the past. He's 30 years old now. He's got just over 5 years of big league service. He was outrighted to AAA on May 31st, called back up on June 25th, so just short of a month down in AAA. Inside, full count. Chad Mottola has taken over as the hitting coach. He has been with the Blue Jays the last couple of years late in the season, coming up from his position as the AAA hitting coach, and has worked closely with Dwayne Murphy, who has moved from the hitting coach role to the first base coach's box. Murphy's not here today. There goes Laurie. Driven into right field. Torrey Hunter on the run, looking up. It's off the wall. Laurie steps on second, headed for third. Lind will get to second, standing up. A one-out double for Adam Lind. He's got 2 hits this afternoon. He's 2 for 2 with a sac fly.
And he was able to pull that 3-2 pitch from Rondon. Not a very good jump by Torrey Hunter in right field. It looked like he was fooled on this pitch. Fastball away, and Lind pulls it. Hunter actually came in, froze for just a second, and by that time it was too late. That ball's going to get over his head every time. It'll go as a double for Lind, and that's a good sign right there. Adam Lind pulling a fastball from a guy known to throw that hard.
But it's one thing that really caused him problems last year, that good heater inside. He just could never get to it, and he got to that one very easily.
And then you start to cheat just a little bit to try and get to that inside fastball, and then you're susceptible to those outside pitches.
J.P. Arancibia, the DH, cuts on the first pitch and misses. Second and third, 1 out. Arancibia, for the early stages of his big league career, has been a pretty good run producer. He's done a nice job of hitting with runners in scoring position. Got a chance to put the Blue Jays out in front here. Fouls it.
Just try right now to keep the ball in the middle of the diamond. The Detroit Tigers are playing the infield back. Anything on the ground to the shortstop, the second baseman, even to the left of the third baseman Cabrera, is going to be a run because of the speed of Brett Lord. So with 2 strikes, that's what you're trying to think about right now. Just keep the ball in play.
Aaron Sebia was batting .242 at the time of his broken hand. He played 81 games and had 16 home runs in 81 games. Fastball, strike 3, cut on and missed by Aaron Sebia. You can see all the games from the 2013 World Baseball Classic, and Canada will take on Italy for their first game March 8th. It all begins at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 11:30 a.m. Pacific. Canada and Italy, the opening game for Team Canada in the 2013 World Baseball Classic. And Brett Lord will be there along with Adam Malone. Sean Hill, who we saw work earlier here this afternoon, also will work there. R.A. Dickey will pitch for Team USA. Aaron Sebia, his strikeout, second out of the inning. Josh Tolley has walked and flied out. Rondon's got a big arm.
All sounds like it's making a whoosh to the plate, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how hard he's throwing, but it sounds hard.
How about that? Your first spring training game, you got to face a guy throwing 100.
Yeah. Ball on the strike. Laurie at third, Lind at second. And breaking ball down, just missed.
Well, it's a lot to ask of a young player who hasn't pitched above in the major leagues at all to come out. Why don't you be the closer for the defending American League champs? Yeah. It's a lot to ask.
Yeah, that's a good pitch. On the outside corner. Upper 90s. Just 22 years old. You can see he's pitching with a lot of confidence and has the opportunity to pitch in winter ball. A little higher intensity, better competition.
General manager of the Detroit Tigers, Dave Dombrowski, thinks he can do it.
Well, a couple of big strikeouts to get himself out of the jam. Bruce Rondon, 2 strikeouts to end the inning. He gave up a 1-out walk, double to Lind, but then strikes out Aaron Sebia and Josh Tolley. The Blue Jays leave 2. Blue Jays Honda opening night contest is presented by Sportsnet 590 The Fan. You can win 2 tickets to Honda opening night on Tuesday, April 2nd, when the Blue Jays take on the Cleveland Indians. Prize includes airfare and hotel accommodations in Toronto. The contest closes Wednesday, March 20th, so make sure you enter today. You can enter that Honda opening night contest by logging on at BlueJays.com. Terry Francona at the helm of the Cleveland Indians, and they are a different ball club. They've done a nice job of putting their team together in the offseason.
Opened up their wallets and went out there and spent some big money.
David Bush, the former Blue Jay, he was a second-round pick out of Wake Forest by the Jays back in 2002. You can see at AAA 4-3 record. He spent 5 seasons with the Milwaukee Brewers. Came up originally with the Blue Jays back in 2004 and made 40 starts for Toronto in the 2004-2005 seasons.
I had a chance to talk with him today around the batting cage and say hello to him. It's been a while, and he says, you know, it's been 8 years since I pitched for the Blue Jays, and I just couldn't believe it. 8 years ago, he was traded away. But he is a pro, one of those players that the Blue Jays have picked up in the offseason to help with their depth within the organization at the higher level.
Off-speed pitch, Cabrera's out in front. Miguel Cabrera in his 3rd at bat. Batting here to start things off for the Tigers in the 5th. He grounded to third his first time up, and then had a monstrous home run to the top of the berm in deep left center off Steve Delabar to start the 3rd.
This is what the home run looks like that you were just talking about. But inside part of the plate, and he pulls it. It looked like Delabar tried to go away with that one, and no doubt about that. Right over the hill in left field as Cabrera picks up his first home run of the spring.
Sound like that one was toward the end of the bat. Anthony Gose is there and makes the catch. That's the first out of the inning. Gorgeous day here in Lakeland, Florida, home of the Detroit Tigers, and they always do a great job of drawing fans to this ballpark. They've been here since 1946. A lot of fans coming down from the upper Midwest, a lot of Tiger fans. Of course, anytime you can get out of Michigan in the middle of February, you want to head south. Vince Fielder is homered this afternoon.
Picked a good day. 80 degrees, 82 degrees here in Lakeland. Baseball weather.
A little bit cool last week as Blue Jays went through some of their drills. It got down into the upper 40s. Breaking ball found straight back. I know those of you that are listening up north, you don't want to hear about upper 40s being cold. But it was cold. Had to even wear a sweatshirt on. Couldn't wear shorts that day.
You didn't wear hats or gloves or anything like that?
Even had to think twice about playing golf.
That didn't take long.
0-2 pitch to Fielder. Bounce towards second.
You know, that's the thing with David Bush. He can move the ball around. He's got all 4 of the pitches, fastball, slider, curve, change, and he's going to go upstairs. And Fielder thinks he can do something with that one. Somehow he got on top of that ball to top at the second base for the out.
Emilio Bonifacio moved from shortstop where he started this game over to second. He and Meiser Sturs have split time, a flip-flop middle of the diamond, and I think John Farrell is going to do that throughout much of the spring. John Farrell, Sean Gibbons. Wow.
That happens.
Me.
Just be safe. Just say John.
John.
You'll be safe.
So John Gibbons is going to get a good look at all of these players in different roles and make a decision as far as how the lineup will set up.
Yeah, and where they can play, how they can play, and not just the major league players. Bonifacio and Asturias are going to make the team, or they'll be on the big league team, but there's a lot of young players here that if they get hurt, he's got to have an input of who he wants to bring up and who would fit into the ball club. So there are some young players here with the organization making the trip over from Dunedin.
Well, John Gibbons, the first few days of camp, when the pitchers and catchers first reported, he literally walked around camp with a roster in his hand, matching up names and faces to numbers. And he said, I got to learn these guys. And it's been an adjustment for him, but it didn't take long. So talk, and he has done a great job of making sure he connects with all of the players. Plus, he's got coaches to get familiar with. Louis Rivera will serve as the third base coach this year. DeMarlo Hale was brought in to be the bench coach for John Gibbons, and Hale and Gibbons have a long relationship. They go back to their days in the Hawaiian Winter League. That's Marty Brown, who's the AAA manager. Will move to Buffalo along with Blue Jays in the AAA franchise.
And the workouts have been short and sweet.
Yeah.
In and out. Get your work done and get out.
Well, it's going to be a long spring, and John Gibbons says, I don't want these guys standing around out here just as eyewash. Do your work, get done, and get out of here. And I think the coaches appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I think you can get pretty stale if you're down here for 6 or 7 weeks and you're at the ballpark from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night. Get your work in. Go out. It's a long season. Pace yourself.
Well, Blue Jays hope it's a longer season than the last several. Anxious to get back to the postseason. Haven't been there since 1993. Have finished 4th for the last 5 seasons. Victor Martinez takes a 2-out walk. David Bush in his first inning of work. He is slated to work 2 innings here this afternoon. We mentioned Bush had pitched very well for the Milwaukee Brewers as a starter. He was traded to Milwaukee in a deal where the Blue Jays acquired Lyle Overton, Gabe Gross, Ty Gross, and Zach Johnson came to the Brewers along with David Bush for Lyle Overbay and Ty Tannenbaum in December of 2005. Andy Dirks, this is the lazy fly ball into center field. It's caught by his first behind the bag, just off the end of the bat. Tigers strand a run. We've played 5 here in Lakewood. It's 3-3. Jays opponents in the month of April. The Cleveland Indians will open things up opening night, April 2nd. It's a 3-game series. Then John Farrell and the Boston Red Sox will come to town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then the Blue Jays will leave town and welcome back in the Chicago White Sox on the 15th of April. Robin Ventura in his second year with the Chicago White Sox, and their expectations are high as well. And then the New York Yankees. They might be the most interesting team in the American League East this year. What are the Yankees going to do?
Plenty of storylines when the Yankees come to town, always. New pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, Ryan Lebowski, will take over. He spent the whole year last year in the minor leagues. Just a reliever. He was originally a 16th round draft pick of the Arizona Diamondbacks, was traded over to the Tigers back in 2011. Just a lefty specialist out of the bullpen, not a whole lot of stuff. A left-on-left type of pitcher.
New batter for the Blue Jays is Ryan Longerhans, and you can see his numbers from AAA. Salt Lake City in the Pacific Coast League a year ago. He's batting for Moises Sierra. The Blue Jays have done a good job of bringing in 6-year minor league free agents, and the switch from Las Vegas to Buffalo has really strengthened their position in encouraging veteran minor leaguers and former major leaguers to sign on with the Blue Jays and play in AAA. Buffalo is a great venue. Knocked down at first base by Tuiasa Sopu, and it's over the head of the pitcher. Longerhans is safely aboard. That's the way the 6th inning starts. It's a base hit for Longerhans, a pinch single here in the 6th.
Explain to the fans why moving to Buffalo, especially for a minor leaguer, as you watch Longerhans cover that outside pitch. And if it wasn't for the play by Tuiasa Sopu knocking it down, it would have been extra bases, but he'll take that infield hit.
Well, the attraction of Buffalo, it's a beautiful ballpark in downtown Buffalo, and the travel is pretty easy. It's in the International League, and of course the proximity to Toronto is another aspect that's appealing. Las Vegas is an older ballpark. Conditions not good. Hot desert all summer long, and it's just not conducive to guys that know they're going to play in AAA, where they have options, they have choices. And now all of a sudden, Blue Jays AAA franchise being in Buffalo has allowed them to sign.
Well, if you're an agent for pitcher A, okay, and one of your options is to go out in Las Vegas in the PCL, and the ball flies in the PCL, especially in that ballpark in Las Vegas, would you want your client going there and getting a 5, 6, 7 earned run average? You don't get too many jobs doing it that way.
And you're going to have ugly stats if you pitch in the Coast League to begin with. And I think that's a concern. But now in Buffalo, like I said, the ballpark's a great situation. The franchise, the organization in Buffalo is outstanding. And they have been affiliated with the Mets. And now the Blue Jays are very cognizant of putting together a good product down there in AAA to really develop a strong relationship with Buffalo. There's a strike. It's 3-1 to Anthony Gose.
I think it works out beautifully for Toronto. Something happens in batting practice, a player gets hit or there is an injury, something like that, they can call down to Buffalo if they are in town and have them there by game time, as opposed to taking an all-nighter from Las Vegas.
Kurowski walks, Anthony Gose. The first two reach here in the 6th inning. Eugenio Velez will come into the ballgame as a pinch hitter. He is batting for Ricardo Nanita, the left fielder. Velez, former big leaguer with the Giants, he came up with San Francisco. He spent the 2011 season, part of that season, with the LA Dodgers. Last year, he was in AAA Memphis with the Cardinals. Switch hitter batting right-handed against Grabowski. Here's another example of a former major leaguer, minor league free agent, looking for a spot to play, and Velez decides that the Blue Jays are a good opportunity for him. He's 30 years old. He too is a switch hitter, as I mentioned. Off speed pitch, he's way out in front. Velez has almost 3 years of Major League service. Spent parts of 4 seasons with the Giants, 2007, 8, 9, and 10. And played with the Dodgers in 2011.
Insurance once again will probably begin the season in the minor leagues. And a veteran, that fits perfectly, I think, for Buffalo.
Another off-speed pitch, and Grabowski strikes out Velez.
Out in front, like a change-up from Grabowski to get Velez.
Now here's a familiar face to many Blue Jay fans. You'll see Mike McCoy stepping in as a pinch hitter. McCoy is batting for Emilio Bonifacio. McCoy, now 32 years old, started 12 games for the Blue Jays last season. Started out his career in the Cardinals organization, then went to the Orioles. Spent some time with Colorado. Blue Jays claimed him off of waivers from the Colorado Rockies in November of 2009. Been an interesting guy, versatile guy that can play infield and outfield.
Another one of those types of players I think every good team has to have, where he can help you out and play different positions. He can play the infield and the outfield, and he can run a little bit. When you are putting your bench together, you're looking for guys who can play multiple positions and can come off the bench and help you win a ball game. There were a couple of times last year where Mike won a game with a nice sacrifice bunt to help set up the winning run, or make a nice defensive play either at shortstop or in the outfield to come up with a big base hit. Just grind it out day in and day out.
Base runners off on the pitch. Full counts, ball 4. So the bases will be loaded. And it'll be a pinch hitter. Lance Sawatsky will bat. And there's a visit to the mound now as Grabowski has struggled a bit. Lance Sawatsky will come on to pinch hit for my series stewards. Jeff Jones, pitching coach, trying to help Grabowski here in this situation. Jim Leland with his longtime coaching pal Gene Lamont. Lamont, the former manager of the Chicago White Sox. This year, he will be sitting alongside Jim Leland. He's been the third base coach in the past, and he will move from third base to the bench as he will be Leland's bench coach.
Well, he's one of the best, isn't he? Jimmy Leland. He's come to the ballpark, play hard that day. He tells it like it is also.
He won his 600th game in a Tiger uniform last year. Became the third Tiger manager to have 600 wins for Detroit. Huey Jennings in the early 1900s had 600, and then the great Sparky Anderson had 600 wins. So there have only been 3 Tiger managers that have amassed over 600 wins while in a Tiger uniform. Sawatsky hits this ball high and deep to right. Garcia looking up. Grand slam over. How about that? The extra guys rally here against Ryan Grabowski. Put up a 4 spot to take a 7-3 lead here in the 6th.
Hey, we said John Gibbons is getting to know his young players, and you try and make an impression on your manager at spring training, especially early. First impressions are lasting impressions, and the young kids are doing it for the Blue Jays. Sawatsky with that grand slam puts the Blue Jays up by 4.
Well, that's what spring training's all about. An opportunity to show your skills and make an impression.
Well, when you get your pitch to hit, you've got the bases loaded, do something with it. A pitch that is down right into the swing path. Zawadzki, he doesn't miss it, and that had great sound. No doubt about that one as it soars over the scoreboard in right field. You know that John Gibbons is going to remember that when he needs somebody late in the summer if a player is hurt.
Now a pinch hitter, Luis Jimenez, batting. Jimenez is batting for Adam Lynn. Lynn had a good day at the plate. Couple of hits, a sac fly, finished up perfect 2 for 2. Jimenez was the offensive player of the year last year at AAA Tacoma for the Seattle Mariners. Blue Jays got a chance to see him out in Seattle, and he hits this one high and deep into center field. And that is hauled in. He just missed it. But the Blue Jays on one swing of the bat from Lance Zawadzki, a grand slam pinch hit home run, have taken a 7-3 lead middle of the 6th. The 2013 baseball season with MLB.TV. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand in HD quality. Watch up to 4 games at once with multi-game viewing. Season subscriptions start at $109.99. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Number 73, number 1 in your heart, who has just now put Blue Jays up with one swing of the bat. Lance Zawadzki at Double-A last year. Just 3 home runs, but he has hit a home run that he'll remember for a long time.
Yeah, he didn't miss that one.
Dixon Machado, the shortstop, fouls off the first pitch. Machado taking over for Johnny Peralta. Regulars for the Tigers played 5 innings, and then there were wholesale changes. They've changed the entire lineup. Machado played right here at Lakeland last year. Breaking ball off to play. David Bush working in his second inning of relief. Machado's just 21 years old. And the breaking ball down and away. As you saw, he hit 195 playing for the Lakeland Flying Tigers, who won the Florida State League here last year.
I think Rondon pitched here at some point, and Garcia might have been here. The other big hitter, Castellanos. They've got some young players that are coming up through their system.
David Bush picks up his first strikeout, first out of the 6th.
I don't know if he saw this type of breaking ball in the Florida State League. 2 strikes. It starts in the strike zone and then breaks off the plate. Just too close to take. As David Bush picks up his first strikeout of the afternoon.
Blue Jays have made changes defensively as well, and we'll get to him as this inning unfolds. Mike Nikias is behind the plate this inning, taking over for Josh Tolley. Nikias came over from the New York Mets as part of that deal that sent Travis d'Arnaud, Noah Syndergaard to the Mets along with John Buck. Bouncing ball, foul down third. Andy LaRoche is the third baseman. LaRoche came into the game as a pinch hitter for Brett Lawrie. LaRoche, if you recognize that name, he is Adam LaRoche's younger brother. Adam, of course, of the Washington Nationals. Andy LaRoche came through the Dodger system as a highly touted hitting prospect and never really caught on.
Both of them sons of a major leaguer, former major leaguer, Dave LaRoche. Looking out at the team that is out on the field right now, a lot of things can happen over the next 6 or 7 weeks in spring training, but this might be the AAA team that starts in Buffalo this year.
Bouncing ball. Mike McCoy at shortstop. Across the diamond in time, and James McCann, the pitcher, is retired. Veteran Ramon Ortiz is loosening up. He is slated to go a couple of innings here this afternoon. Another example of a veteran major leaguer, big part of that 2002 Angels World Series team.
See, I don't think he signs here if the Blue Jays are still in Las Vegas.
No.
Here, David Bush.
He pitched in the International League last year for the Yankees AAA team and won 16 games.
Those little things, just that move back to the International League for the Toronto Blue Jays, things like that, you're able to attract a better 6-year free agent.
Eugenio Suarez has taken over defensively at second base, gets his first at bat. There's a happy young fan enjoying a beautiful day here at Lakeland. And we're glad you're here, young lady. Breaking ball fouled back. Blue Jays lead at 7-3. You see Nicky is giving that high target on that fastball upstairs, and Suarez was able to lay off.
Talked to Dave Bush today, and he said, "You got anything new for me?" He says, "No, it's the same old stuff. Fastball, curveball, slider change, maybe a little bit slower than it was a few years ago."
Well, he jams Suarez and on the first to end the inning. David Bush has a good outing. He works 2 innings and doesn't give up a run. Picked up the strikeout. Blue Jays up 5-4. Baseball down here in Florida, but we want to remind you that we've got hockey coming up. The Phoenix Coyotes and the Edmonton Oilers will tee it up. Sportsnet West will have it all for you. You will not miss a minute of that ball game on Sportsnet West on that hockey game. The Oilers and Coyotes. Regional restrictions apply, but that'll be coming up bottom of the hour. Lots of great NHL action right here on Sportsnet West. Melvin Mercedes in for the Tigers. You can see his numbers between A-ball and AA in 38 games. Another power pitcher, and you can see good numbers against right-handers. And like with so many youngsters, he needs to polish up his approach to the lefty hitters.
Yeah, a little bit better, and he's got good movement to his fastball. Fastball pretty good, and it dives down and away to a left-handed batter, and he will face a left-handed batter.
Adam Lowen getting his first at bat here this afternoon. Lowen batting in the DH spot. J.P. Arancibia had served as the DH. Mike Nikias on deck, took over defensively behind the plate. He will bat in that sixth spot in the order. Adam Lowen looking forward to his time with Team Canada. He has taken balls at first base. Of course, Joey Votto will probably, I'm just going to go out on a limb, probably play first base for Team Canada.
He hasn't announced it yet.
No, he's going to wait a little bit longer, but it's everybody is thinking that he will play. He just wants to make sure his knees are fine before he commits.
Yeah. Coming off of the surgery last year, and he got a couple of hits in yesterday's ball game as the Reds opened up the Cactus League out in Phoenix. He had a couple of hits. The Reds ended up losing that game, but chances are he's going to be there for him.
We'll have all that WBC action for you right here on Rogers Sportsnet, and Team Canada will begin their 2013 World Baseball Classic schedule on March 8th as they take on Team Italy. '30-year-old Mike Nikias, one of the two catchers acquired from the New York Mets, along with R.A. Dickey. Isn't it funny? They get one knuckleball pitcher and they get two catchers. Two guys that they can catch him. In fact, they've added a third that has caught Dickey in the past, and Henry Blanco, who was signed as a minor leaguer.
I thought that was interesting when they made that trade, and heard that John Buck's name was in that one along with Travis Darno. So two catchers going to the Mets, and then two coming back the other way. And I was like, well, why would they trade your quote backup catcher John Buck? I mean, that's why they acquired him, right, from the Florida Marlins and Miami Marlins. And I'm like, of course, R.A. Dickey, you needed somebody who could handle him, and Tolley and Nikias did a great job with Dickey while they were in New York.
Nikias actually had the best ERA while he was catching R.A. Dickey. Tolley, as we mentioned earlier in the ballgame, has the most experience catching R.A. Dickey, and I watched right behind the catcher yesterday when R.A. Dickey threw his side session. It's impressive. Not only because he throws such a wicked knuckleball, but he throws strikes with it.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
Harder than your typical knuckleball pitcher that's coming in there floating. I remember watching Tolley last year handle him when I watch him on television. Very soft hands.
A hard knuckleball, and he throws a slow one as well. And that's a little bit different. He's refining his craft as we go along. But boy, what a season he had last year. Needless to say, he was a National Cy Young Award winner. But you mentioned it in the opening as far as the Blue Jays in the offseason. They had a desire to add 2 starting pitchers to their staff. And John Gibbons, the manager, joined the ball club with the benefit of having 3 veteran starters added to your 5-man rotation. That changes the look of this team dramatically.
I talked to Alex Anthopoulos about that very thing this morning, standing around the batting cage. And You know, I was asking him after that big trade what the mindset was, what was he feeling, and he said, you know, we got Johnson, we got Burley, we want to team him with Morrow, and we're going to team him with Ricky Romero, and he said we still needed one more. In my mind, we still needed that one more pitcher, and when you acquire a #1 pitcher like R.A. Dickey is, he says everybody else gets pushed down the rung of the ladder, and now Brandon Morrow's your 2 and Burley's 3, Josh Johnson's your 4. However you want to stack it up, everybody takes a slot one step down.
This is driven high and deep to center. Fields back on the warning track, up against the fence. Lowen tags at second. He'll move over to third. Daniel Fields stayed with that ball, stumbled and fell to the ground in center. Lowen tags and advances to third.
Longerhein's put a charge into that ball to center field. 420. And right in front of that 420 sign, Fields hauls it in and gets it back into the infield quickly. Double play stays in order as Nicky was not able to tag up.
So Nicky stays at first, and the double play is still in order, and there's a new hitter coming to the plate. That's a pinch hitter, Ryan Goins. And Goins had a heck of a year last year, really blossomed as a hitter, starting to become a prominent name in the Blue Jays minor league system.
Played second base mostly last year in Double-A. Blue Jays didn't have a whole lot of depth in the middle of the infield last season throughout their minor league system.
There's a strike. It's 0-2. Blue Jays lead it 7-3. Lance Sawatsky hit a grand slam, a home run in the 6th inning to put the Jays up by 4. Defensive swing, and Goins stays alive.
You see that ball tailing away from the left-handers. That's why Mercedes had success against them. Fastball with good movement. And battle. Get that run in right here. Chance to make an impression.
He's hanging tough. Fights off another tough pitch and stays alive. Deep to right field. Aviseo Garcia watches it over the scoreboard. A 3-run home run for Ryan Goins. A couple of youngsters taking advantage of some at-bats here in Lakeland.
Hey, Buck, you said it. He's starting to get a reputation as a hitter. You can see the athleticism just in the way he handles himself on the ball field. But now as a hitter, some power starting to come along. That was a great approach. The sinker down and away, and he just fouled it off down the left field line and then got one he likes. And watch how short and sweet that swing is. The barrel of the bat goes right to the baseball, and that one also over the scoreboard in right field.
25-year-old Ryan Goins drove in 61 runs last year at Double-A New Hampshire. Really had a breakthrough season at 289 for the season. And starting to get noticed in the minor league system.
Pretty good looking swing right there. That fastball on the inner half, it looks like it's going to beat him, but he was quick and he got the barrel to the ball. Showing some pop as a middle infielder.
Lance Sawatsky with a grand slam home run. Now Ryan Goins has expanded the Blue Jays lead. It's 10-3 Toronto. Velez pops it into shallow left center. It drops safely in left field. He has a base hit. He is now 1 for 2 since entering the ball game. Machado has had a little rough outing here.
He has only retired one batter, and this one just dumped into left field by Velez. And Mercedes having a rough outing. The youngsters out of the farm system for the Tigers, getting roughed up the last couple of innings.
Mike McCoy beats it on the ground toward third. Danny Worth quickly unloads to retire McCoy. Velez moves up to second base, but now there are 2 down. I want to remind you that the hockey game between the Phoenix Coyotes and the Edmonton Oilers is coming up on Sportsnet West, bottom of the hour. You'll see every minute of the hockey action as the Coyotes take on the Oilers right here on Sportsnet. Sportsnet West for NHL action coming up next. Lance Sawatsky, who hit the grand slam last time up. Former 4th round pick of the San Diego Padres back in 2007. Played at San Diego State. He was actually drafted by the Expos in 2003. 48th round, 6th inning.
Just like Ryan Going swing. Watch how quickly he gets the barrel to the baseball. Turns on that inside fastball for the home run. Two very similar types of hitters and types of players. Middle infielders. Not a whole lot of power, but showing it here this afternoon.
Ball and a strike, 2 outs. Velez at second, fouled off at the plate. Zawatsky has an interesting footnote in his bio. He got the first hit at Petco Field while playing at San Diego State. San Diego State played an exhibition game there in 2004, and he got the first hit. Pretty cool little note. Broken back. Worth at third. Long throw across the diamond. In time, the inning is over. But the Blue Jays, a 3-run home run by Ryan Goings. Ramon Ortiz will come on to work, but the kids going long ball here this afternoon in Lakeland. Blue Jays lead at 10-3 over the Tigers.
It was a match.
New pitcher for the Blue Jays will be the veteran Ramon Ortiz. Ortiz had some great seasons with the California Angels before they became the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Last year you saw his numbers from AAA, and another veteran big league pitcher that the Blue Jays have signed as a minor leaguer that will provide some insurance down in AAA.
It's always been a strike thrower. He could fastball, slider, changeup type of pitcher, but he works quickly. He throws strikes. He has been around.
Off-speed pitch, and Daniel Fields is out in front. Fields came on defensively to take over in center field for Austin Jackson. There are his numbers between A-ball and AA last year. It's his first at bat. Came in defensively in the 6th inning. And Austin Jackson started in center. He went 0 for 3 on the afternoon. There's another great changeup. Well, the Blue Jays have had a big day offensively. 10 runs on 10 hits and a couple of long home runs. And the first-year hitting coach has joined us now, Chad Mottola. Chad, you got to be pretty excited about the way the kids have stepped up here this afternoon.
Yeah, I kept track of when times are good.
When you look at this roster, and of course you've got to learn a lot of new players, what are some of the challenges you have as far as getting to know people like Bonifacio and Estouras and Jose Reyes?
Well, the thing about those guys is they're pretty established guys, so it's my job to learn their routines each day and what they've done over the years to kind of establish themselves. So those guys are the easy guys, and the guys that I'm going to work a little harder with I've had in the past.
Tell the fans at home what a typical day is for Chad Mottola, the hitting coach in spring training.
Spring training, we start up probably about 7:45 in the morning, have the younger guys come in before the veterans come in, get some soft toss, some tee out of the way, and then the veterans get in there about 8:15 to about 8:45, and then 9 o'clock we have a team stretch.
So then when do you get your golf game in?
That one's for the pitchers, for sure.
Okay, I got a question for you. You had a chance to work with Adam Lind last year on an extended basis down in AAA. What are your goals for Adam Lind this spring to try to get him back on track?
Just to continue what we had going last year. He's such a natural hitter. We just worked down in Vegas to get his natural rhythm back. It was a lot easier down there with less pressure, so we went down and established that and continued that in September. We're going to continue it in spring training.
What type of drills and things like that do you do to get that rhythm back for Adam?
We actually started in some awkward positions to get him to learn what his natural position is again. And it didn't take but 1 or 2 days, and now we've continued those, and we're down to about 10 swings a day. That's all he needs.
Colby Rasmus has talked about he has simplified his approach in his work, too. What is he doing this spring that's different than the past?
It's the same principle. We'll just get them in their natural hand slot, which that tends to be a little more easy to maintain throughout the season.
You know, Chad, the base hit by Brett Borg to left field, I thought, was a great approach and a good piece of hitting. What did you think when you watched his approach in that at-bat?
It was good to see him pull a pretty good sinker. From my angle, it looked like it was a little up, but I know that Hill throws a great sinker, and we talked about that going in. And the fact that he hit a lot of ground balls last year on that same pitch, it was good to see him stay above the ball and get a line drive on it.
Danny Wirth takes one down and away. Everybody wants to know about Jose Bautista. From your perspective, how healthy does he appear to you?
He looks 100% right now. We're really cut down on his swings more just to maintain it, but we haven't done anything other than let him go. We haven't done anything to baby it, and he looks great.
The ball has popped up to the second baseman, Zawatsky. Chad, we want to wish you the best this spring. We appreciate your time, and keep those hitters hitting those home runs, all right?
Sounds good, Buck and Tabby. Thanks.
All right. That's Chad Mottola, the hitting coach for the Blue Jays this year. He's taken over. This is his first time. He was quite a prospect in his own right. #1 pick of the Cincinnati Reds. Just one of those guys that couldn't really get established in the big leagues, but boy, he understands hitting.
You have to. He had talent, but and had to work at it in the minor leagues. And those are the type of players that become very good hitting coaches because they understand hitting. They had to learn how to hit. A lot of times you've got great hitters like a Miguel Cabrera. A lot of that is natural ability. He's got natural strength or natural bat speed, and then a work ethic and the smarts to become a superstar. When you don't have that, you've got to learn how to hit. And you've got to learn what it takes to to be competitive at the big league level.
The players really seem to relate to Chad Mottola. Colby Rasmus, for instance, talk about how Mottola has a different approach for everyone. And, you know, sometimes hitting coaches and pitching coaches, too, can get into a one-track mind where they want everybody to hit the same. I don't think Mottola's quite like that.
Yeah, I don't believe in that either. You've heard of hitting coaches in the past tell their hitters you have to hit this way, you have to stand this way. It doesn't work that way.
Ground ball as skips under the glove.
Ryan Goings is now at shortstop as Mike McCoy has moved into center field. Ball in this field gets chewed up late into the ball game. Becomes very hard, and that one just ate up Ryan Goings at shortstop. Watch the last hop as he sets himself to try and field this. It just comes up on him. And he'll be charged with the second error by the Blue Jays this game.
So McCoy moves from short to center.
But to finish that thought, what we were talking with Chad Mottola, says, I don't believe everybody has to stand the same way. You have to do certain things to be a successful hitter. But I found it very interesting what he said about Adam Lynn.
Natural hitter. Just wants to get him back to a free rhythm.
And how did you find that? They did all kind of stances that felt awkward. What do you call it? Awkward stances?
Yeah.
So then when he went back to his natural stance, that's what felt natural to him.
Now, I spoke to Adam about that specifically, and he said he would do weird drills, put your foot in an awkward position just to show you how tied up you could be. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to the proper position where you can free up your hands, you saw how easily you could get there if you set up correctly.
So you might hit from a closed stance where your front foot is a little closer to home plate than your back foot, or you might hit from a spread stance or have your feet closer together, or from an open stance, and do drills that way, and that's going to feel weird.
Yeah. But you know what, and Mottola made a great point, and Lynn has talked about it often. In AAA, you can try things.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that in the major leagues. You have to put up numbers.
And when he says try things, you can try them in games.
Yeah.
Down in the minor leagues. You can't do that here.
Now, Chad Mottola is anxious to get his first opportunity as a big league coach, and he talked to all the new players, and he said every one of the new players, Bonifacio, Sturas, Cabrera, Reyes, they all had a program. He said they were very specific. Melky Cabrera, for instance, told him, you know, I like to do this drill. I like to hit from both sides of the plate every day. That's what I want to do. And here are the checkpoints I want you to watch for me. Melky Cabrera came up through the Yankee system and worked with Kevin Long, who does such a great job with the hitters. And then, of course, Cabrera had the 50-game suspension last year while he was in position to win the batting title. The appeal down to first. Jerry Lane says no swing. So the Tigers have loaded the bases against Ramon Ortiz here in the bottom of the second.
You know what that forces a hitter to do? It forces a hitter to learn something about them. Learn their strengths and weaknesses. When you go to the hitting coach and say, this is what I work on, these are the checkpoints, all you have to do then as a hitting coach, you have to make sure they're doing that. But the hitter then becomes the man who is in charge of that, of his hitting. He is not putting it on anybody else.
Jeff Cabernis, who has taken over in left field for Andy Dirks, gets his first at bat here this afternoon. See his numbers with AA Harrisburg. That was in the Washington Nationals system. He was taken by the Boston Red Sox in the Rule 5 draft this past off season. Then he was traded to the Tigers. Neil Wagner starts to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Ortiz was scheduled to throw 2 innings, but he has thrown a lot of pitches here, and Wagner's starting to loosen up.
You know, not by his fault. The air has kept the inning alive for the Tigers and has added a few more pitches to Ramon Ortiz.
Got a chance to get out of the inning now. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Cabernis has a 1-2 count. down and away. Boy, Ramon Ortiz, he's a veteran. He knows what you need to do to get hitters out. He gets that ball and fires. He doesn't waste any time.
Looks like he's in great shape. Thin, wiry, and gets it very aggressive on the mound.
Bases are loaded, full count, 2 outs. The runners will be off on the pitch. Tigers trying to get back in this ball game here in the 7th. It's 10-3 Blue Jays as they've scored 4 in the 6th and 3 in the 7th. This is the tough part of spring training for a manager. You got your extra guys in the game trying to close out a game and getting deep into your pitching depth. Ball is hit high into the air in the right center. Oh, Longerhans and McCoy run into one another, and they both appear to be hurt. Longerhans has the ball in his glove, holds it up.
The umpires are not going out to see if he made the catch, and no one has made a signal if he made the catch. But he caught that ball. Took a punishing blow from Mike McCoy.
Well, John Gibbons is out to check on McCoy. Longerhans has gotten up, and he is standing next to McCoy, but McCoy still on the ground. Once again, players that haven't played with one another playing in a game for the first time, and we saw Isturiz and Anthony Gose have a collision in center field early in the ball game, and McCoy appears to be pointing to his left leg.
The ball is going to be lifted to right field. Now this ball is slicing towards the right field. You can see Longerhans is right there. McCoy just runs right into him. It looked like his knee. Watch his left knee hit right there. And how about Longerhans holding on to that baseball after taking that blow from McCoy?
Well, it's too bad because Longerhans was basically camped under it. McCoy was calling for it, but once again, you haven't played with these guys. We saw it earlier, as we mentioned, Anthony Gose and Isturiz had a collision in center field. And now McCoy has gotten up a bit. He's sitting down now in the outfield. This is the one concern you have in spring training, injuries. And McCoy is now up on his feet. Mike Frostad, the assistant trainer, is attending to him. And now he looks like he's going to make his way right toward the Blue Jays clubhouse. A good check. So hopefully they'll be all right. We have played 7 innings here in Lakeland. Blue Jays lead at 10-7. With 2 outs and the bases loaded, Jeff Cavernas hit a high fly ball to right field, and Mike McCoy, the center fielder, comes over and runs into Ryan Longerhans, who had made the catch. The umpires never really made a definitive safe or out call while both players laid on the grass in right field. Jim Leland says, would somebody make a call? You never made a call. What is it? And he would eventually go out and have a discussion with Jerry Lane. And here's another look at the collision. Longerhans held on to the ball, even though Mike McCoy slammed into him, and they both laid on the ground for a while. And there you can see Longerhans holding the ball high in the air. But we never saw an umpire give an out sign.
An out signal.
What Jim Leland wanted to clear up.
The Tigers never took the field. They waited until Leland went out there. But when they did, they had a new pitcher. And it's Dwayne Below, who takes over. 27 games last year with the Tigers in 2012. 388 earned run average, pitched out of the bullpen for the Tigers.
Andy LaRoche batting for a second time. LaRoche grounded out the shortstop in his first at bat back in the 6th inning. He gets jammed on this breaking ball. A little flare that the second baseman catches. Suarez makes the catch. That's 1 down. I mentioned that the score was 10-7. Of course, I looked up the scoreboard, and there was a 4 spot in the bottom of the inning because the scorekeeper didn't see the out call either, and that's why Leland didn't argue. But it is indeed 10-3 Blue Jays on the strength of a couple of home runs. Lance Sawatsky, a grand slam home run in the 6th, and Ryan Goins, a 3-run home run in the 7th.
Tigers, they have a couple of home runs with their big guys. Both Fielder and Cabrera have gone deep this afternoon for the Tigers, and Blue Jays throwing their big power guys out there.
Sawatsky and Goins. Luis Jimenez has some power. He had 20 home runs last year in AAA Tacoma in the Seattle Mariners organization.
He's a big guy. I was watching him today take batting practice. He's a big man.
He's 30 years old. And he was originally signed with Oakland back in '99. He played 1,016 minor league games before he made his major league debut last September. Came up with the Mariners and got in a big league game against Boston. Had a single in his first at bat off A.J. Griffin of the Oakland Athletics. He played in 2009 in Japan. Got a chance to go over there and get some at-bats, and his team, the Nippon Ham Fighters, won the Pacific League. And they had a pretty good 22-year-old pitcher on their team named Yu Darvish.
What year was that? 2009? Sounds about time for Yu Darvish.
This is the first of our TV games from spring training. Here are the remaining games. They'll all be on Sportsnet. Next weekend, 2 games against the Phillies. First game will be in Dunedin. The second one on Sunday will be at Bright House Field, where the Phillies have their home training site. And the Yankees, Atlanta later on. And then 2 games in Philadelphia, Friday night and Saturday afternoon, to wrap up the spring schedule before the Blue Jays head home to Toronto and get prepared for the season opener April 2nd against the Cleveland Indians.
Blue Jays just can't get enough of the Phillies.
Yeah.
We play them down here I don't know how many times. We're just going to go to Philadelphia and play them.
It's a nice road trip to finish up the spring. You go to Philadelphia and you have a Friday night game that gives you a little bit of a big league atmosphere. Adam Lowen getting his second at bat. Lowen back in the system. He's with the Mets last year and played in Buffalo. Looks like he'll probably have his second season at Buffalo. But he's happy to be back and really looking forward to the World Baseball Classic, an opportunity to represent his country. And of course, Canada had a disappointing run in the 2009 World Baseball Classic, and they had to qualify in Germany last fall, and they did that. Lowen flies out to center. Quick inning for Dwayne Below. Spring training's a good time. Old fans come out, and the kids, they get reunited with a great game of baseball. In Florida, as the Blue Jays open up their Grapefruit League action. First game for the Blue Jays, and it is a beautiful day and a big crowd here at Joker Marchant Stadium. They have done some nice renovations here in this ballpark, including building that berm out there in left field, and the fans can bring their blankets and sit on the hill and watch the ball game. Great atmosphere here in spring training. The Tigers have been a big hit here in Central Florida for years, as we mentioned. They have been here in Lakeland since 1946. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is Neil Wagner, who pitched in AAA last year. Wagner split time between a couple of different minor league teams, and the Blue Jays saw him in the Coast League, and he's got a chance to work some more here and give the Blue Jays a little more depth down in the minor leagues.
Signed to do just that. He's got a nice little split finger fastball, little breaking ball, strictly out of the bullpen for Toronto.
Dixon Machado, the shortstop, struck out his only time up. Takes a fastball strike, ball on the strike. Played at Lakeland right here in this ballpark last season in the Florida State League. Hit just 195.
It's a tough league.
Very tough league, isn't it?
Not because he hit 195, but you've got big ballparks. It's hot, and it is tough physically to play in the Florida State League. And you've got older pitchers here. So if you are a younger player like this kid and you're playing in this league, in this ballpark against older pitchers, it's going to be very tough to hit. Tough to put up some numbers. I should know. I spent almost 3 years in this league.
You lettered in the Florida State League, I understand.
I grabbed my pension from the Florida State League. I spent so much time here.
Boy, it's a tough league for travel, too. You spread out all over the state. Little Chopper to third. Chopper, and LaRoche makes a nice play. Andy LaRoche made a good play, barehanding that ball and throwing the first in time to record the out.
Didn't panic, didn't try to go too fast. He knew that Machado can run down the first baseline. You got to slow those plays down, and that's exactly what LaRoche did to come up with it. Watch him come in, barehand the ball. He knows that's the only way he's going to get out. And all in one motion, throw a strike across the diamond to get the out. Couldn't draw it up any better than that.
James McCann, the catcher, batting for a second time. Gets fisted on that pitch and pops it into seats. Another pretty good McCann behind the plate. I believe these two are related, but Brian McCann coming back from shoulder surgery for the Atlanta Braves, and the Braves are picked to do a good job in that National League East. I think the front runners, of course, the Washington Nationals, are a terrific team.
Yeah. How about that National League East? Could that be the best division in all of baseball?
Well, you expect the Phillies to be better, but they still have age concerns. The Braves, of course, they picked up a pair of Uptons that are pretty good. How about that outfit? That might be the best outfit in baseball.
When you combine power, speed, hitting ability,
defensive skills,
arms.
Justin Upton, B.J. Upton.
Jason Hayward.
Jason Hayward in right. I mean, that is a good outfit.
And then all that pitching. And a powerhouse bullpen. I think they're going to give the Washington Nationals all they want all season long. I think they're going to be neck and neck all year long.
The only thing that really concerns me, if I were the Braves, is that big chip that's on Steven Strasburg's shoulder. After not playing last year in the playoffs, they put him on the shelf, and I think he is a motivated guy.
But he only pitches once every 5 days.
Well, you know, if he wins 25 games, that'll be pretty good.
You know, their pitching from top to bottom is probably the best in the National League.
They signed Rafael Soriano to close, and they had two pretty good closers last year, and Tyler Clippard and Drew Storm. Now they're a complete team.
Dan Herron?
Yeah. Dan Herron comes over there, gives him some more depth in the rotation. There's a weak ground ball hit to second. Zalewski waits on it, and that's the second out of the inning. The Phillies concerned about their age, but you see the World Series odds set by BetVega.com. Blue Jays are 7-1 favorites to win the World Series. Dodgers right behind him, tied with the Nationals, then the Angels and the Tigers.
I'm surprised about the Angels.
They've had pitching concerns.
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. Everybody keeps talking about Josh Hamilton. But beside Jared Weaver, C.J. Wilson, who are they going to run out there?
Well, they got Tommy Hansen from the Braves, who's been battling injuries the last couple of years. And,
Joe Blanton?
Yeah, Joe Blanton. Joe Blanton gives up a lot of home runs, although that ballpark there in Anaheim is pretty pitcher-friendly. Are you of the mind that Mike Trout has an off year?
His off year is probably pretty good.
There's so many people that are saying Mike Trout's going to slump this year. Mike Trout did what he did in 5 months of the season. He didn't get called up till nearly the 1st of May.
Well, you've got Mike Trout, you got Josh Hamilton, you got Albert Pujols, right? Who am I missing? You got Trumbo. Okay, there's your power guys.
Yeah.
But the other guys, they don't scare me.
Yeah, Kendrick. They're talking about Peter Borges playing in center, Trout playing in left. Do you agree with that?
No.
No, I think Trout's a better center.
Yeah.
So I mean, as good as Borges is, I mean, he's a terrific defender, but it was tough to move Mike Trout out of center. Vernon Wells might end up on the bench. Lee Wagner strikes out to end the inning. We'll go to the ninth. The Blue Jays with a comfortable lead. First game in spring training. Blue Jays up 10-3. Welcome back to Lakeland, Florida. We are in the 9th inning. Blue Jays lead at 10-3. New pitcher for the Tigers is 26-year-old Trevor Bell.
He's a former first-round draft pick of the Los Angeles Angels. He's been up and down in his career in the big leagues and the minor leagues. He was signed as a minor league free agent by the Detroit Tigers. There are Trevor Bell's numbers in Salt Lake. Again, inflated numbers pitching in the Pacific Coast League, where he is a starter and had a couple starts in the big leagues with the Angels.
For his career, he's 4-8 in 52 major league games. He's made 11 starts, as you mentioned, all coming with the Angels. Made his debut in 2009 when he pitched a total of 8 games. So it's another example of a 6-year minor league free agent signing with a team that expects to be pretty good, the Detroit Tigers. Mike Nickius, the catcher, getting his second at bat. Nickius walked and scored in the 7th. He scored on the 3-run home run off the bat of Ryan Goins. Nickius started out his career in the Texas Rangers organization. Little flare into shallow right field. What a nice play by Suarez as he goes out, makes it over the shoulder catch. 1 down in the 9th.
First games of spring training, you want to try and do everything. You come in on the ball, go side to side. You also want to go back on the ball, and Suarez does just that. Gets a good jump on that ball, stays right with it. No fear of running into that Garcia, the right fielder. He's a big man in right field.
Avisail Garcia, 6'4", about 235, and he's a big man. He came up at the end of the season from Double-A and did a terrific job for the Tigers in the postseason. I mean, he is a big man that's really talented. Brian Longerhans, it's good to see he's okay. He had that collision with Mike McCoy out in the outfield. McCoy had to leave the game, but Longerhans stayed in, and he has since moved to center field. Off speed pitch misses outside. One thing we haven't talked about yet is the status of David Cooper. Cooper, who was going to be a candidate to make this team and provide some depth. He hit 300 last year and had 11 doubles. He got some big hits for the Jays, but he's dealing with a back problem, a disc problem, and there's no time frame for his return.
He was hurt last season with the Blue Jays and missed the last month and a half for Toronto and just hasn't been able to get healthy. And anytime you're dealing with a disc problem, that could be scary.
Just really no time frame. First they got to identify the problem and then try to address it. Longerhand strikes out. 2 quick outs for Trevor Bell here in the 9th.
But you're right, he came up with some big hits and he started to show some power. Always been known as a very good contact hitter and batting average hitter. Last year he started driving the ball to left center field.
Good line drive hitter, but his status is uncertain now as he's dealing with that back issue. Ryan Goins homered his last time up, a 3-run shot deep over the scoreboard in right. Good way to start your spring. Of course, this time of the year, the hitters generally have the upper hand. Pitchers are out there getting their rhythm. They haven't really started to work on their breaking balls. They're more concerned about getting their legs underneath them than anything.
Ryan played a little of extra at the end of last season. Got to go to the Arizona Fall League as one of the representatives for the Toronto Blue Jays. Do that, then you keep yourself in a little bit better shape and come into camp in a little bit better baseball timing. And it showed in that at bat.
Goins is from Round Rock, Texas. As you look at Chad Beck, who's loosening up, looks like he's going to come in and work the 9th. Beck, of course, has had time at the Blue Jays the last 2 seasons. Owens takes the walk. Got a couple of good at-bats here this afternoon. A 2-out walk. Eugenio Velez will get another at-bat. He singled his last time up. He's a switch hitter. As we mentioned, he's got time in the big leagues with the Giants and the Dodgers. Last year played in AAA Memphis. But another versatile guy that can play infield and outfield. Goes after the first pitch. The Blue Jays have made significant changes to their roster, and the makeup of their team has a chance to be dramatically different. You mentioned the addition of switch hitters. John Gibbons is going to have plenty of options with the addition of Reyes, Cabrera, Listores, and Bonifacio, the switch hitters that have been added to this club. The ball skips over the glove of Dixon Machado into left field. Second hit of the day for Velez. He too is a switch hitter.
What about the added dimension of more team speed? They had some speed last year. Rajay Davis and Brett Laurie could steal a base if you needed to, but I'm talking about elite speed right now for the Blue Jays. And for the first time in a long time, a legitimate leadoff hitter.
Yeah, first time since Shannon Stewart, the Blue Jays have had a real bona fide leadoff hitter in Jose Reyes. Pinch hitter coming to the plate is Jack Murphy, a switch hitting catcher from the Blue Jays minor league system. Murphy played collegiately at Princeton. That's significant in that the coach at Princeton is a former big leaguer, Scott Bradley. Broken back, little dribbler toward short. Machado quickly in time to retire Murphy, and the Blue Jays are done in the ninth. Chad Beck will come on to close out the game. New pitcher for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the ninth is the right-hander Chad Beck. And Beck has spent parts of the last 2 seasons in the big leagues. 14 games a year ago with the Blue Jays. He got roughed up. Had a little problem with his command and his control, pitch from behind the lot. But he was the closer in AAA Las Vegas for the Blue Jays last year.
Stuff-wise, Chad Beck's got good stuff. He's got a good arm. He's got a very good split finger that he can get plenty of strikeouts with. But you're right, the base on balls has been his problem where he falls behind. Didn't think that we would see Chad in spring training because he had a very busy winter.
Yeah, he was claimed on waivers out of the organization and reclaimed later on. And you're right, it looked like his future at the Blue Jays was non-existent. Then they got him back. But he's a guy to have in your organization, and They like his character. He did a good job in AAA, and hopefully he'll find something that'll get him over that hump. Ground ball up the middle, gloved by Goings, and what a play. Ryan Goins had a big day with the flat. Hit a 3-run home run here. He shows a little range going behind second to help out Chad Beck.
And he also has to remember who was running, and it's Fields, the center fielder, so he can run right back over the mound. But positioned up the middle, there's some athleticism. We've seen it with the bat, and now we see it with the glove in the arm by Ryan Goins. Nice play.
Goins played collegiately at Dallas Baptist College, and a little bit older, 24 years old, but now starting to make an impression with his glove and his bat. Avisail Garcia. He walked his last time up, came into the game defensively for Torrey Hunter. Came up to big leagues last year from AA. Participated in that stretch drive by the Tigers, got into the postseason.
You mentioned the size of him, and he's got home run ability. He can also run. 23 stolen bases last year.
Well, he's a good-looking player. And although it doesn't really fit, they call him Little Miggy. He's bigger than Miguel Cabrera, but his actions remind everybody around the Tigers of Cabrera. Kind of a quiet guy that goes about his business, but boy, can he swing the bat, and he really captures your attention when you see him run. For a big man, he can fly.
23 bags again last year in the minor leagues.
0-2, he goes too far, strikes out Chad Beck. 2 quick outs here in the ninth. The Blue Jays are up 10-3, and there have been a couple of key moments offensively for the Jays.
This was good to see from Brent Laurie off of Sean Hill to get it going in the 3rd inning. That pitch on the inside part of the plate, a home run, and then Lance Zawadski empties the bases, grand slam to right field to really blow this one open, and then Ryan Goings the same thing, almost a carbon copy swing and placement of the ball, counting for 7 runs on 2 swings from the middle infielders.
Yeah, the youngster's getting an opportunity to make an impression, and it was a very solid impression for Zawadski, who hit the grand slam. And then Ryan Goins with a 3-run home run, a couple of big shots tonight. Danny Worth fouls off the first pitch. Just like the Blue Jays, the Tigers don't have many openings on their ball club. I mean, they're pretty well set. Of course, they're the reigning American League champs, and they have one goal in mind, and that's to get back to the World Series. They brought in Torrey Hunter to nail down right, and Chad Beck has just nailed down this ball game. Good inning of work for Chad Beck. 3 up, 3 down with a pair of strikeouts. Big day for the kids. Lance Zawadski with a grand slam. Ryan Goins with a 3-run home run. Blue Jays win the first game of their spring over the reigning champ, the Tigers. 10-3 for John.